Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to this evening's event in the Cyber Thunder Racing League for the Tuesday night Thunder Truck Series event. This is going to be an interesting new challenge here in New Hampshire, a track that we haven't gone to very often in Cyber's history. So, a lot to watch out for, and alongside me, as always, my great friend Tom Richter.
Well, good evening, Arie, and good evening, race fans, and welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile, whatever you want to call it out here. This is going to be one of the great unknowns of the 2025 Season 2. It has been a full 3 calendar years since the Cyber Thunder Racing League has last seen the Granite State out here in New Hampshire, so usually when we come to a track, Arie, we've got some data, we've got some history, we've got some stats to talk about. Tonight, we're just looking at the timing board.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have a lot to go off of, but I tell you what, not having a lot to go off of isn't always a bad thing, because what it does present us with is a very fascinating event. Tonight, it is the biggest unknown of arguably the entire season, Tom. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be putting a lot of drivers to the test. I've spoken with a handful of different drivers, different teams up to this point, and it seems like these trucks are very uncomfortable. It is looser than loose. They don't know how to drive the track. They are feeling awful. We are in for a good one.
It's one of those nights that you and I are glad to be up here. Race information for this evening. Stage 1 concludes at the end of lap number 52, and stage number 2 concludes at the lap number 90. So the drivers will be racing to lap 52 to try to score those ever so important stage points. But you know what else is 52 laps, Arie? A fuel run.
Oh, that works out pretty well. 52 laps is going to be that's going to be a good number to have. We have a long one tonight, 200 laps around New Hampshire. This is also going to be a bit of an endurance test, so I like how it's shaping up. And while we don't necessarily have the fancy points graphic this week, we can give you a little something. I'll pull it up for just a moment before we cut away for the pre-race ceremonies. But Tom, we got our weekly power rankings as good as we'll do this week, and it very much reflects the points situation, but also a lot of the speed that we've seen out of certain drivers lately. Namely, 2 drivers that have caught my eye in a big way, Tom. Rick Thompson in the 76, and I mean Cody Gibson being the man on fire.
Yeah, Cody Gibson. It's hard to bet against Cody Gibson with the way that he's been running lately. And Rick Thompson came so close at Nashville, almost got his first career win at Cyber Thunder Racing League. So I think this race is going to be up in the air. We're going to find out together here in 200 laps.
Oh, we absolutely are. And in the meantime, we're getting ready to end practice and kick it on over to qualifying. So before we do, how about we throw it trackside for the pre-race ceremonies? All right, checkered flag is waving. We're back just in time for practice to wrap up. Topping the board in practice, Cody Gibson, driver of the one. We mentioned his name just a minute ago, and drivers are going to have to be watching out for that flaming hot Cheetos truck tonight, as they have been so far this season. But right now, we're going to wait to see who some of the first names to light up are, who's going to jump out on track and get some hot laps laid down early.
Couple of drivers making their way out on track out here tonight. Brad Holmes in that 00 Ford F-150. Brad has been kind of one of those drivers, Arie, this season that has been very top or bottom. There is no in-between for the 00.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And wow, as we're seeing the 00 come by, we'll get a good shot of it right here. Listen, Tom, you know me. I am a paint schemes gal. Okay, I love a good paint scheme. I love a good design. I think it makes or breaks a car. And I love this new paint scheme from Brad Holmes. We can talk about how he's been running and all that. That's great. He'll put down a lap. That's great. That truck, that's a good looking truck.
Got a little bit of blue chrome on the 00 there. Sawble Speedway. Representing his home track out there. Always good to see people supporting their local tracks. Arie, something that's interesting. Oh, as Brad gets a little bit loose there in 3 and 4, has a little bit of a wiggle on the exit of his first qualifying lap. Gonna still be good for first on the board so far. Something that's interesting about New Hampshire. Let's just compare last week's race at Las Vegas real quick. Last week's race at Las Vegas was actually longer than this one in terms of mileage. But when you come to New Hampshire, something about 200 laps in New Hampshire feels very heavy.
That it does. And I mean, we're seeing similar lap times. I can't think off the top of my head of what, the pole time at Las Vegas was, but I think, the way you drive this track is a lot slower. It's a flat track, and the way it's profiled, it's very loose. So you gotta, be very careful as we see the 19 spin around and get into the wall right there. Logan Spencer having some issues, but I mean, this is a telltale sign. We're seeing drivers get loose and struggle to handle these trucks, and you got to run it slower. It's a flat track. It lends itself to these kind of longer lap times, and even though the mileage is less, the time could very well end up being more, and it's really interesting how that works in racing.
We will get our cameras loaded in here, but on board right now with Gary Bowman as the field continues to make their way. Cody Gibson, the fastest man in Cyber Thunder Racing League as of late, is currently top of the board. Gary Bowman goes to 4th on the board with just about 2.5 minutes remaining out here in qualifying.
Gary Bowman's one of those drivers who's stepped it up in a big way so far this season, as has the likes of Ed Jurgen here in the 92. We're really seeing, a good handful of these drivers coming into this season with a renewed approach and aggression and intent on getting better. And I think it's been great for the level of competition. As Ed Jurgen comes across the line, that's going to put him P12.
Riding on board with the Ping machine of Dustin Ping, number 81. And we are following Dustin around. He's currently working his first time lap. See where Dustin is able to go as we ride on board. We're going to see a lot of diamonding of the corners throughout the course of the race out here tonight.
That we are, and I tell you what, Dustin's first lap is going to put him P16. He's got a second to go around here. Dustin was bragging about having real-life testing experience on the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, so it's time to back it up, Tom, if you're Dustin Ping, and that's a great-looking 81, but is it going to be looking good on the front row? That's the question. Jump on board with Jason Dismore in the 62. See what driver 62 can do. P18 across the line.
And let's go back over to one of the last two drivers out on track. Dustin Ping completes his second lap, 3rd on the board for the Ping machine. Dustin Ping, 3rd fastest as qualifying begins to start to wrap up here with 35 seconds left in qualifying. One driver left out on track, and that is the number 32 of Christopher Wold.
Good old Chris Wold in that Boise State 32. Driver who we see flashes of here and there, and always a great time to race on track with Chris. And one thing I'm noticing as qualifying's wrapping up here, Tom, is I'm seeing a group of names that I'm not used to seeing. And, you know, we've got Cody Gibson on provisional pole at the moment. Looks like it's probably going to stay that way so far. But teammates of Cody Gibson, Tanner Marr, Larry Bell, 5th and 6th for the Five Kings Motorsports squad. Now, do they have something specifically figured out? They got 3 of their 4 drivers in the top 6.
Well, it's never a bad start when you can point your team up towards the front of the field for the start of one of these races. But what do you say here, Arie? It's about time that we get set to go racing on a Tuesday night, and we'll pull up your starting lineup out here tonight and get ready to get rolling.
All right, starting P1, it's the Flamin' Hot Cheetos truck. He's been unstoppable unless it's strategy that's stopping him. Cody Gibson going to be starting on the pole for Five Kings Motorsports, and on the outside of the front row is going to be Matthew Semple in the 16 truck, followed by Dustin Ping in 3rd, driving the 81 alongside Greg Mitchell in the 55. That's our points leader. Tanner Marr in 5th in driver number 4, I should say, followed by teammate Larry Bell on the outside of the 3rd row in 05. Gary Bowman is 2nd in points. He's going to be starting P7 alongside 3rd in points, Andrew Caldwell in the 46 truck. Brad Holmes and Mike Stiverson going to be rounding out the top 10 on row 5.
And 11 through 20th is going to be led by Phil Van Vliet, just outside the top 10. Rookie Dwayne Young, and then number 48 machine, followed by Lee Campbell. Ed Jurgen, tonight's race sponsor for the Jurgen's Lawn Care 200 out here tonight. Chris Mackey, Nathan Dufton, the Battle Broad, Amanda Sherman pilots the number 88 out here tonight, starting 17th. Jason Dinsmore, Eric Anderson, and Logan Spencer, the top 20.
Leroy Koblenz in the 42, going to be starting in 21st alongside Jackie Brennan, a.k.a. Chris Letts in the 65. We've got Dave Gainforth, driver 101, starting in 23rd alongside Carter Lawson, this recent Thunderstruck guest appearance. We've got Steven Music in 25th, followed by Andy Cork in the 41. Jared Anderson, driver number 5, is going to start P27 alongside Chris Rowland in the 32. 29th and 30th, Rick Thompson in the 76. Got a lot of ground to make up, but he's been quick alongside Casey Tomlinson, driver 52. Shotgun on the field.
Well, it is about that time here, Arie. What do you say? It's been 3 calendar years since we have last said, let's go racing at the Magic Mile of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Tuesday night, let's get ready to do 200 laps.
Let's get ready to do it. Pace car is going to pull off. Cody Gibson, Matt Semple lead us into the restart zone. Green flag is down, and Matt Semple with a fantastic jump into turn 1 we go.
Battle all ready for the race lead. As you look at them, that's how they started out here at this 1 mile track. Out here, Cody Gibson working the bottom lane, Matt Semple working the top lane, side by side like it's a pace lap, followed by Dustin Ping and Greg Mitchell, your top 4. A little bit of a breakaway before you see 5th place Larry Bell.
I tell you what, Tom, as we complete lap 1, there is far more side-by-side action than I expected to see. I thought we'd get single-filed out pretty easily, but as we watch these drivers at the front battle it out, it seems like the bottom line is probably the preferred, but that high line in these wheel-to-wheel battles is going to be a little formidable. I'm already noticing Greg Mitchell going all the way up to that 3rd lane past the apron. That's pretty high compared to what I would usually expect out of a track like this, but if there's one thing we know, Greg Mitchell knows what he's doing, so interesting to keep an eye on.
Riding on board with the number 16, 2nd place of Matt Semple right now as he continues to chase Cody Gibson, who has opened up a race lead of about maybe a truck and a half at best. But Dustin Ping takes a big look down onto the inside of Greg Mitchell, that number 55. Only multi-time winner so far in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. So Greg looking to get number 3 while others are looking to get number 1. And we got some battles back here, 3 wide. Entering into turn number 1, Brad Holmes involved, Andrew Caldwell, and Larry Bell.
Looks like we've got yeah, the 48 of Dwayne Young down on the apron down there. Don't even think he was going slow. That might have just been a racing line. You can kind of take that truck wherever you want around the track here in New Hampshire. There's, of course, the apron. That'll get completely flat. And one of the unique principles right here, you can even see Dwayne Young trying to work it a little bit, is that bottom lane right next to the apron, Tom. It's almost like an inverted banking is kind of what it feels like. And it's such an interesting feeling behind the wheel when you dip those left side tires down onto that bottom lane like we see the 48 truck doing. You can really use that to help rotate the truck in the center of the corner, especially if you're tight. So that'll be something as well to keep an eye on. Dwayne Young right now is the only driver really using it. And in 3 and 4 right here, going all the way down to the apron, I absolutely love this from Dwayne Young. It's different. It's getting experimental. It's trying something early. That's what you got to do in stage 1.
Issues out on track already. See, yellow flag coming out over the speedway. Unsure of the exact reason, but we'll see if we can't find out. Usually we get a notification that somebody had a moment. I see Andy Cork 13 seconds behind the field, so possibly the number 41.
Could very well have been. Let's go ahead and see if we can queue up a replay. Let's see what we got going on over here. Speed this back up just a little bit. This has got us on Dwayne Young, but let's jump back with Andy Cork. Yep, that's going to be it right there. Let's see if we can queue up one more replay and see if we can't catch Andy Cork a little bit earlier right here. We're heading through turns 3 and 4 at the moment. Looks like a little self-spin gets really loose. Dip those left wheels onto that more difficult part of the track where it kind of gets real loose on you, and it's kind of hard to manage here. Let me see if we can do one more. I want to get an onboard shot if we can with Andy Cork here. And nope, not going to get the right onboard shot, but regardless, for Andy Cork here, unfortunate to take that spin, but kept it out of the wall. It should be good to go from there. Just self-spin, gonna have to claim that caution, but nobody involved beyond that, no damage. And this gives all of these drivers a pretty good chance to begin or work on saving maybe a little bit of fuel, make it a little more comfortable to reach the end of stage 1. The end of stage 1 being 52 laps was kind of right on the number of what we expect for a tank of fuel, and they of course have the pace lap at the start of the race. That's going to put them in a weird spot, but I think this caution will be enough. Everyone should make it to the end of stage 1 pretty comfortably.
Yeah, this kind of does two things, and one is the fuel that you were just talking about, Arie, and the second one, it gives everybody kind of a second to, they just ran 6 green flag laps, right? Kind of take a break, kind of take a breath, figure out what they're going to now do to run to the end of lap number 52. What these drivers don't have the luxury of out here tonight is tires. If a fuel run is 52 laps, the race is 200, we would expect to see drivers down here on pit road 4 times out here tonight, and that is the number of tires that each one of those drivers has over the wall waiting for them throughout the course of this race. So could also be a tire conservation mode out here in the first opening 10 laps.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, Tom. I think the tires are going to be a big deal, and I mean, for those you guys who are out there in the chat rooting on your favorite drivers, by all means, let us know who you're pulling for, who you're supporting. But these drivers, it's their fault that they've got 4 tires. They put themselves in this position, Tom, because we voted on it, and it was almost unanimous. Most everyone wanted this amount of tires, so they wanted the challenge. They said, "Bring it on," and I think that's one of the great things about Cyber.
Well, Cody Gibson has led from the word go out here tonight. Matt Semple to his outside. Cody Gibson. Kind of interesting that Cody elects to take the inside lane here, being that the outside lane can be maybe a preferred lane on the restarts. But we will see how this first restart of the evening goes as we go up to Barney the Flagman, who has got that flag high up in the air, waving in the wind, ready to send us on our way for the second time out here this evening.
Barney's doing a crazy magic trick with that green flag right there, but off we go. Cody Gibson gets a fantastic jump on the restart. Down into turn 1 we go. Not going to have to worry about going side to side with anybody. And Dustin Ping, I've already noticed that 81 Tom throwing it into the corners on entry. Dustin Ping, as Dustin Ping does, is not afraid to send it in there and try and force somebody out of position.
Dustin working the inside on the inside of Matt Semple and the number 16 Chevy Silverado. They're coming through turns 3 and 4. It's so difficult to make a pass on the bottom lane because you need all the track to throttle up and put the power down on the corner exit here. Is now Dustin going to take maybe a look to the outside as Matt Semple's going to settle into second place, but Greg Mitchell now is under fire maybe here from Tanner Marr, but battles all over this racetrack out here. We've got side-by-side race in Tanner Marr underneath Andrew Caldwell and Brad Holmes, a little group of 3 right behind this pack right here.
Interesting to see Andrew Caldwell all the way up in the 4th lane right there. I thought maybe for a second we'd see a wiggle out of the 46 getting up into the marbles, but seems like you can kind of run up there if you're forced up there or if you need to. He's trying to stick that nose to the outside of the 4. He wants to make the pass and he wants to make it on the outside, but Tanner Marr's having a pretty good showing so far this evening as we jump on with the 48 here. Looks like we got a car down to the infield, a little bit further back. Didn't quite catch who that was. Looks like the 19, Logan Spencer, back going. We're green. And maybe just a little bit of a dent on that front left.
Take a quick look here of Logan Spencer, see what happens to Logan. Coming out of turn number 2, just gets a little loose on the corner exit and does pretty well to avoid any significant damage, but certainly a setback. Here early in the race, 3rd place, 4th place right now. Greg Mitchell going to town on Dustin Pink.
Oh yeah, great work by the camera team to catch that one right there. This battle for 3rd place. Greg to the inside, Dustin to the outside. And, you know, just a lap ago, we heard Tom say the sentence that Greg Mitchell under pressure from Tanner Marr. And if that doesn't tell you how crazy this race in New Hampshire is so far, then I don't know what will. But Greg gets loose in the 55. This is our points leader right here, battling hard with Dustin Pink for a position, and you're going to have to if you're racing that 81 truck, because all Dustin knows how to do is go 100%, and that's what we love about him. But Greg Mitchell on the inside, going to have the advantage, and that's going to secure P3 for the moment.
Greg Mitchell moves up into a current podium finish place running out here, but driver that I've been keeping my eye on out here tonight, Arie, this 48 truck has been fun to watch through these first 15 laps.
I tell you what, Dwayne Young has been the most fun to watch, I think, up to this point. I think he got a great point, and, you know, for a second I thought you were going to call out Mike because, you know, we're indirectly influenced by driver 20 driving that Cyber Thunder Broadcasting Network truck, but no, the driver of the 48, Dwayne Young, we've seen him come into the league as one of the rookies. We've seen him go all in. He's dipped his toe in, and then he's gone full force. Dwayne Young has showed up every Tuesday. He showed up to the Thursday series. Dwayne is having a great time here, and we've also seen the commitment from him to improve. Dwayne wants to go out there and he wants to perform, and that's so cool to see from one of the rookie drivers here in Cyber. I think we're going to see that 48 around for a very long time, and what I'm seeing here in Race 4 in New Hampshire through only 16 laps is that he's a very crafty driver. He's not afraid to try the unorthodox things.
Following along out here, Dwayne Young certainly making a name for himself, and kind of interesting though, Arie, that, you know, usually when we talk about new drivers, we talk about the struggles that they have, especially when you're not used to racing around the other drivers that have maybe been around for years, right? The 48 truck, though he's in a different paint scheme each week and keeps us on our toes, certainly seems to fit in and not really causing any issues. Don't see him causing any feathers ruffled, but and also running fast. That's half the challenge in itself. So.
Oh, it absolutely is, and yeah, Dwayne's not going to be the driver who goes out there and intentionally ruffles feathers or gets aggressive with it, and any incidents he has had up to this point in the season, I feel like he's good about, you know, getting things settled and getting used to all the drivers around him, so good by him for that. We're going to jump back here with driver 43. This is our season opener winner, Eric Anderson. Broke that big win streak. Eric's been holding on to the top 10 of points, but over the last couple of weeks, Tom, Eric has been sliding down both the points and the power rankings, struggling to kind of find that speed that he was starting to find towards the end of last season and at Daytona.
Yeah, and you know, anybody can kind of make the case that, right, Daytona is a 40-sided die as he gets loose on the entry to turn 3 right there, but he's able to hang on to it. That's going to open up the door for 47 of Nathan Dufton. But regardless if it's luck, if it's skill, if it's a mix of this, if it's a mix of that, it sets the tone for your season. Everybody that was racing at Daytona saw that 43 up front and knows that he's a contender. He's currently running 16th on the board, still hanging on to a top 10 points position. This 43, though he's had a couple of rough races, is still very much a championship contender come our Scrambler Series.
Oh, that is absolutely the case. I will agree with you there, Tom. And there are ups and downs throughout the season. It's one of the beauties of motor racing. It's, you know, it's not just one game here or there. There's so many elements to it. It's so different than anything else. And I know what you mean about the season opener setting the bar. I'll take the moment to brag about my recent win in the Thursday series, winning at Daytona in the old Gen 4 cars, and feeling good about that season being it set the bar. But here we go with P2. We've got Greg Mitchell to the inside of Matt Semple. We're at the point now where we're going to start to really see the difference in who's got tires and who's burnt their stuff. As a matter of fact, Dwayne Young in that 48 very quietly running in P5 right now and chasing down these race leaders.
Yeah, as he takes a look down onto the inside of the 81, that's a battle for third place, trying to make his way up. And again, running as low as anybody out here tonight with the left side tires, almost running in the grass on that number 48 machine. Really interesting line, but really fun to watch from this 48.
I tell you what, Tom, there is not many times where I've been left speechless by witnessing what somebody's doing on track. And I'm being so genuine when I say this is blowing my mind to see one of our drivers go all the way down onto the apron like Dwayne is doing and run this much faster than everyone else with the tires going out. He's about to pass the points leader, winner out of 2 out of 4, all the way down there on the apron. I cannot stress enough how impressive this is from Dwayne Young. I love this showing out of him.
Now, Dwayne's currently fighting Greg Mitchell, so once Dwayne gets clear of the 55, and he does there, we'll keep a close eye on the lap times out here in the next lap or two and see the difference between Cody Gibson and Dwayne Young. Last time by, Dwayne had a little bit of traffic to work through, but he was still 0.2 faster than Gibson up front.
Tom, have you ever seen anything like what the 48 is doing right now?
It's certainly something to keep our eye on, but doing it this early in the race, Arie,
it's
you run
interesting.
the risk of everybody else saying, hey, what's the 48 doing?
I tell you what, if you look behind the 48, Dustin Ping's doing it. I saw Larry Bell do it a lap ago. There are multiple drivers who have been passed by that 48. They've watched that 48 go up there like it's a video game set on easy mode, and they're like, well, hold on a minute. What's he figured out that I don't know? And now we're seeing Caldwell, we're seeing Bell, we're seeing Ping. All of these drivers diving down onto the apron, trying to make it work. And you make a really good point, Tom. The 48 showed his hand right here, right now in stage 1. And more power to him if he's more concerned about getting the stage points, because he's in a position where that's going to make a big deal for his season. But I don't know. It's interesting. He showed his cards. Is that going to come back to bite him?
Well, last time by, Dwayne Young was a little bit faster than Cody Gibson by about 1/10.5. So the currently about 1.2 seconds behind race leader Cody Gibson. We'll see if Cody Gibson makes any adjustments once the 48 gets there in just a couple of laps. That we will, and I mean, through all the talk of everyone else, we cannot forget about driver number 1, Cody Gibson, the Flamin' Hot Cheetos Chevy Silverado has been a man on a mission, a man on fire. Finally broke through and got his first career Cyber victory in the season finale of the 2025-1 season. That was at Old Atlanta. Very tire-hungry track, very difficult. And ever since then, you know, Cody missed the first couple races of this season, but since he got back on track, I don't think there has been a driver even really close to the speed that the one has been showing. And yeah, he bit himself with bad strategy in Las Vegas, but to come out here consistently now and just start putting down poles and stage wins and race wins, it was such a jump from driver number 1.
That last lap time by 0.2 better for the 48 than it was for Cody Gibson, as we will pull up. And I mean, you could just see the speed difference here between the top 2 positions.
That you can, and 48 still continuing to reel him in. The first 4 have kind of spread out a little bit. And we got a battle for 5th. That's Tanner Marr in the number 4. That's Matt Semple on the inside and that all-white number 16. And here comes Brad Holmes, making up some positions, moving up in the field, going to be giving his good buddy a hard time here for what is now P6.
Yeah, Brad Holmes going to be taking maybe a little bit of contact from the front to the rear bumper there between the 0 and 16, possibly. But Andrew Caldwell, the quiet driver in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, still hanging on to 8th. That's where he started out here tonight. Andrew's one of those drivers that always finds his way up towards the front of the field at the end of these races. Was a Championship 4 contender last season, came up just short of winning the championship, but never count that 46 out. If you do, you're making a mistake.
You know what, Tom? You know who that 46 car reminds me a lot of?
Who?
Andrew Caldwell reminds me of a Kevin Harvick from the Richard Childress Racing days. Kevin Harvick, when he was in the 29, was very much this kind of driver. You never, like, saw him up there dominating races for the most part, leading all the laps, being flashy, but you could count on that 29 every single race to just creep up, and all of a sudden, there he is, and, you know, you're saying his name, and he's getting good finishes, and he's racking up the points, and I think that's very much how Andrew Caldwell is at this point in his Cyber tenure.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see him working the back of the 0-0 as we've got a battle for the race lead shaping up. Cody Gibson under fire for the first time out here tonight from the 48, up 10 spots from his qualifying run through 33 laps at this mile speedway out here tonight. 48 and the 1 go to battle.
That they do, and Dwayne Young on that apron line gets such a good exit. I cannot believe how much speed he is able to carry on exit. He's got so much grip on that part of the track.
And we've got a yellow flag out over the speedway, Arie.
That we do, and I tell you what, I think driver 48 is going to keep the lead under caution here. All right, there we have it, and let's see if we can't figure out where this caution came from. I'm going to queue up a little replay right here. It looks like Jared Anderson might have been involved. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here's the beginning of the spin. This is coming off of turn 2. Going to keep it cranked down at slow-mo. You can see Jared try and get the truck going in the right direction. Does, to avoid the inside wall. Great call from driver number 5 right there. I actually didn't think he was going to get that saved with how that was looking, but let's see if we can't get another angle of it right here. You can see he just gets loose. Self-spin off of turn 2. These trucks are so loose, and wow, so close to the inside wall right there. Avoids contact, doesn't get any other drivers involved, and great heads-up driving from Jared Anderson at 5. Back up front with our race leaders. You guessed it, Dwayne Young, driver of stage 1 so far in that 48. Gonna be leading the field to a very important decision, to pit or not to pit. We're 35 laps in. Stage 1 ends at lap 52. Dwayne Young very late to pull away from pit road. Hopefully no penalties there. Hopefully that wasn't too late. Almost lured in from those behind. Situation that we'll keep our eye on. I don't think Dwayne has any penalties by the looks of it. All in the clear, but let's not forget, these drivers can only change their tires 4 times, and if you assume that we have a tire change at the end of stage 1, at the end of stage 2, that leaves you with 2 more tires for an entire 110 lap stint at the end of this race in stage 3. So taking tires in the middle of stage 1, not something I would have done, and I'm glad these race leaders didn't, because that would have been an interesting play for them. We're gonna slow it down here though. Catch this replay. Go ahead, Tom.
Watch this this yellow line here. By iRacing standards, we'll see how iRacing calls this. He was clear of that yellow cone. That yellow cone that you see right there above the yellow barrels is actually where pit road speed begins. But they do have the commitment cone down there, but I don't think that's in effect for...
Yeah, whereas in the real world, in real life NASCAR, that orange box with the yellow line that we saw previously, that would be the indicator. That's where you have to decide. But here on the sim, here in iRacing, they let you get a little crazy with it. They moved that line up, and it was that yellow cone zone. That's a commitment. So I think Dwayne gets away with that one, but that was close and got the heart racing a little bit.
Tell you what, biggest movers of the night out here tonight. Rick Thompson up 13 spots from his qualifying effort. Dwayne Young, your current race leader, up 11 spots. Chris Wold up 9 spots as well. Drivers that are moving in the wrong direction. Larry Bell down 8 spots from his qualifying position. And Logan Spencer had an earlier incident out here in tonight's race. Down 9 spots for that number 19, but pace car is about to send us to the green flag once again out here from the Magic Mile.
This is going to be the first restart in which driver number 1 is not in control. How will Cody Gibson cope with this? Dwayne Young going to have control of the field. Into the restart zone we go. I believe this might be the first time for Dwayne Young to lead us to green in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Jumps up to the high side across the line, gets that preferred line going. Down into turn 1. He's already back on the apron, Tom. He doesn't want anything to do with these guys.
Greg Mitchell takes a look onto the inside of Cody Gibson, trying to take second place away as Andrew Caldwell has a moment on the exit turn number 2. Everybody carries on and away. No issues for the 46, just a little bit of loose, but Greg Mitchell, Dustin Ping, Matt Semple, Tanner Marr, and Brad Holmes all battling for the same spots out here.
Oh, a little contact.
What a group of cars we got going out here for stage points.
Yeah, these cars are sliding. Let's not forget, Tom, these guys do not have tires. These are 39-lap old tires on a track that is already incredibly loose. And we're seeing the wheel bang, and they can't keep it straight on the straightaways. They're going into the corner, and the truck is out of control. The rear end is just gone. And wow, it is incredible to watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get some more contact here.
And you can see all the drivers using everything that they got out here. Brad Holmes still working down on that inside lane, getting a push from Andrew Caldwell in that number 46, trying to make something work on the inside lane. So difficult to make passes. Larry Bell having a moment on the exit turn number 2. He is going to be taking a hit, and Cody Gibson under fire for second place. Got battles everywhere we look. We can't keep up with them.
Yeah, we definitely can't, and we're starting to see some drivers kind of smack the wall on corner exits, and I tell you what, that caution is pretty good for a driver like Greg Mitchell. Greg is very much the type to be feeling it out early on in a race. He's not going to fight too crazy hard for a position here or there until later on in the race, but when he sees a lot of speed out of a driver such as the number 1 of Cody Gibson right here, and a caution brings him into the picture, you know Greg Mitchell's going to be doing everything he can to try and bury him in some track position. Greg's a very smart driver, and while it looks like he doesn't quite have the speed to keep up with those top 2 at the moment, that these cautions are going to continue to be a good chance for Greg to get up there and try and throw a wrench in the gears and throw his name into the hat for this race.
So now, Arie, I've got to imagine, with those 2 cautions that we've seen in stage number 1, we were right on the money for a fuel run. 2 cautions puts everybody good.
Yeah, I think 2 cautions puts everyone good. Even if they weren't saving under caution, I think that's enough to make everyone good. And, you know, for any of the drivers who are going to be a little more proactive about it, they maybe saved a little just to be safe, and I think that's what I would have done. But, yeah, I would be surprised if we see anyone peel down under green, especially given the track is short enough that you're going to go a lap down.
Tell you what, Rick Thompson continues his march forward. He just made his 18th pass of the night, started 29th on the board out here tonight, currently running up in 11th. If Mr. Thompson, if RT76 can get stage points in stage number 1 out here after starting almost 30th, keep an eye on that 76 as he continues his march up towards the front.
Oh, absolutely. Keep an eye on the 76. That is a driver we mentioned in the pre-race, showing a lot of speed recently. Rick Thompson has hit the ground running here in the 2025-2 season, though he didn't make the season opener. He's been up there, and he's been flirting with his first career Cyber win, so can't count out Rick Thompson. He didn't qualify, didn't get a time down, so he started at the back, and he's showing how much speed he's got, and, you know, he's a quick driver wherever we go. I did notice that there's a big dent on the rear bumper of that 76. He's got that spoiler flared in the middle, and I can't help but wonder, maybe that doesn't hurt all too much if this truck is already uncomfortable to begin with. Yeah,
I did notice that damage as well on the back of the 76. Well, we'll see what he does when he comes down onto pit road here, presumably in another 7 or 8 laps as this stage begins to make its way to the conclusion of stage number 1 out here tonight from the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. Dwayne Young, currently your race leader. Cody Gibson in second. Greg Mitchell, that's currently your top 3. Followed by Dustin Ping and Matt Semple in your close top 5.
It's been a real interesting race to watch so far. We see a new name in the top 10. That's the 47 and Nathan Dufton back there. Interesting to see how these drivers in the top 10 are kind of, coming and going and battling with each other and where they're kind of landing on pace here through stage 1. Let's not forget, this is a very long race that we have this evening. We are not even to a quarter of the way through this event. We're about to be in a handful of laps, but a lot of interesting information here, a lot of things to take in, and I mean, so far, Dwayne Young, driver of the 48, he's got to the lead, he's handled a restart, he's opened it up to about 1.5 seconds, and he has still got that line down on the apron, just perfected. Cody Gibson is looking like, out of the traditional line runners, the fastest driver on track. He's still holding off the rest, but man, these drivers are going to have to adapt. They're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you can still see the time difference between the 48 and the 1, to a quarter of a second, 1/10.5, just under 1/10, another 1/10.5. So the 48 has got something figured out here tonight.
That he does, and really cool to see. Great showing from one of our rookie drivers here this season. Jump on back here to P5. This is Matt Semple in the 16. Matt Semple's been involved in a fair few battles up to this point in the race, though it feels like more often than not these battles have been going backwards. Maybe it's time for a little bit of a change. Can he put Greg Mitchell under pressure here for position number 4 before we get to the end of stage 1 here in about 3 laps? Coming off of turn 4 right here. Top 10 remains mostly unchanged at the moment. These drivers are all single filed out. 50-lap old tires. You're not going to be able to do too much with that. But Eric Anderson says, don't tell me that, and is looking to make a move on Mike Stiverson. This is a battle for P12 as they run. Ed Jurgen looking keen just behind on trying to make a run, but with the tires as old as they are, just mentioned a second ago, it's going to be pretty hard to make these moves stick, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to waiting for the drivers around you to make a mistake or potentially even forcing them into one. As we see Mike Stiverson get real wide off of turn 4 right there. That is one of those mistakes that's going to allow driver 43 to get a nose down to the inside, get side by side, and try and make a run for it. Out of turn 2 we go right here. They're going to stay about even. Mike drifts up to the wall, gets a little loose. Hold on to that thing. Eric Anderson still hugging that apron really well. Jump over here with Nathan Dufton in the 47. This is the final stage point position on the final lap of stage number 1. Can Nathan Dufton hold on to that 1 bonus point, or can Rick Thompson in the 76 go up there and take it? This is going to be the closest battle for a stage point by the looks of it, or one of the closer battles. And up front, Dwayne Young has run away with this one. Rick Thompson trying to get around the 47. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get that stage point after all. Stage 1 concludes when Nathan Dufton crosses the line, 10th place truck, and with that, caution is out. Lock the order. Stage 1 results are in, and driver 48, Dwayne Young, in that Lowe's Chevy Silverado, going to be stage 1 winner here in New Hampshire. First career stage win, I do believe, in the Cyber Thunder Racing League for Mr. Young. Goes out there and shows the field what's up with a very crafty line so far. Cody Gibson in P2 with 9 points scored in stage 1, followed by Dustin Ping, Greg Mitchell, and Matt Semple in the top 5, just outside the top 5. We've got Tanner Marr going to be scoring 5 points ahead of Andrew Caldwell's 4, Brad Holmes 3, Gary Bowman scoring 2 points, and the final stage point is stage 1 going to driver 47, Nathan Dufton.
Yeah, pretty good first run out here tonight. Now the drivers can finally get down onto pit road and finally get some much-needed tires that they have been begging for. But I expect to see everybody out here on pit road, but Dwayne Young making his mark known in this opening stage out here tonight, wins the stage and takes those ever important 10 stage points. Cody Gibson, second Dustin Ping, as everybody, as expected, comes down onto pit road.
That they do. Dwayne Young going to be leading them on. Big gap between Cody Gibson and Dustin Ping, second and third place. But not a truck left on track, and I think that's going to be the name of the game at the end of stage 2 as well. Let's not forget here, Tom, Cody Gibson's going to have the benefit of pitting in pit stall number 1, so this could put Dwayne Young in a position where he has to retake that lead, whether on the short run or a little bit longer. We didn't see that 48 start making up ground when the tires were new. We saw it when the tire cliff happened and these drivers started to struggle a little bit. So stage 2 is going to be real interesting. See how everyone approaches it differently. And Cody Gibson easily going to be the first truck off as everyone tries to file their way through. We'll see how it all shakes out. And once we do see it shake out, what do you say, Tom, that we get a stage 1 winner up here in the booth for a moment?
Well, let's try doing it here, Arie. Let's see if we can't find the number 48 of Dwayne Young. Where would he be? Let's move Dwayne up here. Arie, I got Dwayne for you.
All right, we've got stage 1 winner Dwayne Young, driver of the 48. Dwayne, that was, I do believe, your very first career stage win here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. You've come to New Hampshire and you've hit the ground running. You have showed all of these drivers what's up with that very crafty line that you're running down on the apron. You were the only driver doing it at first, and as you kind of left some people behind, we started to see more people pick up on it. But good job at stage 1. How are you feeling about the race so far, and how do you feel about the rest of the evening?
Extremely nervous. I'm not gonna lie about that one. I am extremely nervous right now. Hopefully no one gets a hang of the line that I'm running, but if they do, I feel like I can just outpace them on that. But,
all right, I like it. I like the confidence. Well, Dwayne, you're getting ready to go back green. Lights are on the pace car. We'll send you back so that we don't keep you under green. And that was driver of the 48, Dwayne Young. And I was ready for these cautions to go so quick, Tom, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they are moving along out here tonight. As stage 1 done and away, we're going to get to begin stage number 2, pace car down and away. Cody Gibson takes the race lead through that round of pit stops. Cody Gibson hits the loud pedal first, and he's going to take the race lead by about a truck and a half length lead. Over second place, Dwayne Young in that number 48 truck. Dustin Ping on the inside of Tanner Marr as they go down to turn number 1 side by side. Everywhere you look, Brad Holmes sideways.
Yeah, a lot of crazy things going on at the moment. And Tanner Marr up there battling for the top 2. Everyone trying to get it figured out, trying to find some room on track to operate, to run how they want to run. This is the first time in a while that we've seen drivers with brand new tires. They've had an entire stage to go through, figured out. Caution's out again. And we'll have to see what exactly happened here with this one, but see if we can't find out right here. If we go back here, looks like an issue for Carter Lawson potentially. None of that yellow flag right here, and take a look back here in the field. We'll keep it a little slowed down. There's a lot going on back here. Greg Mitchell with a penalty in the back of the field, going to be getting a front row seat to this. Looks like Carter just gets loose. Going to spin in front of some drivers right here. Tries to lock up the brakes a little bit. These drivers are doing a good job of getting around. And I do believe no harm, no foul. So we've seen a lot of self-spins this evening, but not really much contact. We haven't seen any drivers get together. We haven't seen anyone destroy their truck in the wall. And that's not to say it hasn't happened, but we haven't seen it. Hasn't brought out a caution, and good heads-up driving from these drivers to keep it from getting worse when things go wrong.
And that could be a case, Arie, of these drivers are used to how the truck drives on 50-lap-old tires. They just came down. Now the problem that this causes for for Carter Lawson is he just burns a set of tires, assuming that he now needs to come down.
That's absolutely right, it does. And real quick here, just gonna fix the camera situation. But yeah, for Carter, the tire situation is a big deal, and we've talked about it a lot up to this point. Only 4 sets through the race, and if you're gonna have a self-spin like that, and you're going to flat spot those tires, excuse me. And especially if you're going to do it so early on a run, those tires were so fresh. To do that and have to ride out the rest of that stint on those tires, that's going to be brutal. It's going to be difficult, but we'll see if Carter can manage, and hopefully it wasn't too bad.
See the lap vehicle of Logan Spencer coming around to take his free pass award. But Cody Gibson, I just heard Cody Gibson is taking the outside lane for this restart here.
That's an interesting choice.
First time we've seen that.
That is, and you know what else that does is that gives a... Oh, okay. I had a little scoring hiccup there. No, actually, you know what? This is smart from Cody Gibson, because I'm seeing that 48 on that bottom line, and if Cody Gibson started on the bottom, he's giving that 48 a big old window to send it down on that apron on the bottom with the advantage of the jump from the leader going into turn 1. So this could very well from Cody Gibson be twofold. Tanner Marr on the inside is a teammate, and
I was gonna say this could be a little bit of you rub my back, I'll rub yours. Tanner Marr is a teammate to the number 1, but you touched on it.
Yeah, that is it's a good point. I got to that conclusion slowly, but we got there. We'll see how this restart goes. See if they time it. See if they both get a good launch, and presumably Tanner will probably let driver number 1 in. They get a good start. That was about perfect for those two, easily ahead of the rest, and we're gonna see Dwayne Young dive down to the apron right here underneath Andrew Caldwell. 3 car widths between the two. Tanner Marr has to look to the outside, couldn't quite stay clear off of the corner. That's going to give Caldwell the opportunity, and Tanner's going to do his best to try to hold off that 48, but I think he's got a 3 wide situation incoming.
3 wide on the exit of turn number 4, 48-4, and maybe 46.
Maybe. I'll tell you what, Tom, I think one thing I'm seeing out of this is that Dwayne's line is a great line, but it doesn't do short run speed. Dwayne is under fire from these other drivers. They're driving around him on the outside, and we saw it swing back the other way in stage 1. That strategy started to work out for Dwayne. That line he was running was amazing on the tires, and Dwayne gets sideways, has to correct it. As I'm talking about it, we had a couple different things going on here.
Yeah, possible issues for Chris Mackey and possibly Phil Van Vliet. Not entirely sure who all went around. That was a lap ago. We're going to get back live here and see what's going on, but Andrew Caldwell has made his way around the 4 truck, as I heard the 55's got some damage. Greg Mitchell is back in 19th place, Arie.
That he is. It is a weird showing after what looked like a really solid stage 1. I think Greg had a penalty on pit road, whether it was speeding or otherwise. We saw him at the very back of the field in the replay for the last caution, and now he's got some damage. So unfortunate events for the points leader, but Greg had a big enough points lead that I think even if it all went wrong today, he'd still be looking pretty good, and that's just how good of a season he's had so far. But to kind of get back to what I was touching on a little earlier, driver 48, we see him falling back, and it's going to be important for Dwayne not to get overwhelmed by this. We saw him get real sideways a little bit ago. We see him now kind of running a more normal line. It'll be really easy for Dwayne to get tempted to start changing how he's driving because of the lack of short run speed. But let's not forget that it wasn't the short run that got him the lead. It was that long run. It was saving those tires. And if he starts changing too much of what he's doing, he's not going to have that advantage on the long run anymore.
Well, we'll see, as he is currently battling the 81 of Dustin Ping. This time by, we're going to see Dwayne take the line we've seen him using all night long, all the way down on the inside lane, on the apron, almost in the grass, through turn 1 and 2. And he's going to continue to battle the 81, but currently back down to 7th place after winning stage number 1. And it's got to be frustrating in these sort of moments here, Arie, right? You go up there, you take the stage win, you get a bad restart, this doesn't go your way, that compounds with this, and then ultimately you find yourself running back in 7th. But difficult to maintain that composure through this second stage. But you got to remember, we're hardly just past a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, that's right. It is really frustrating, and in Dwayne's case, it's more than frustrating, because Dwayne went up there and that was his first time going up there and taking the lead in a cyber race and really, you know, controlling things, being the driver, winning the stage. He's not had that here in cyber before, so it's also really nerve-wracking, and it would be entirely understandable for Dwayne to be in this position, see himself slipping, and start to panic and start to change what he's doing and overcorrect in a way, in a sense. So hopefully Dwayne can keep his composure. Hopefully he can, you know, stay level-headed, keep doing what he's doing because it was working, and he doesn't need to change it all up.
Yeah, and riding on board with Dustin Ping, you can see the 48 working all the way down to the inside line. And then there's another part of this, Arie, is as this track changes throughout the course of this race, it's that apron maybe not have the advantage that it once did at the beginning of the race. We're seeing less and less drivers use it, and it doesn't really seem to be as advantageous as it was on the first 30 laps.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a couple factors that could play into that. Number one, I think it's just there's no short run speed on that apron. I think the normal traditional line just benefits that short run a lot more. And once those tires start to wear out for some reason, there's just more grip on the apron. But the other part of that, Tom, is like as it's run more, something you were alluding to is you'll rubber in the apron. Like, yeah, it's not the racing service, but it will get rubbered in all the same the more that it's running. That will change the characteristics of what's going on down there. So what works on lap 10, on lap 20, on lap 30 might not work the same on lap 100 or 150 or 200.
Taking a look, following one of the closer battles out on track right now, Mike Stuyvesant has been around the 43 of Eric Anderson all night tonight. Mike, if you want to talk about a season of bad luck for this number 20 machine, comes into the points 23rd in season points for that number 20. A couple of really bad finishes, but currently running in 12th, trying to get a solid finish here tonight.
That he is. Mike, of course, running a throwback scheme to his championship season here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, and Mike's had some unfortunate luck this season, but Mike's a good driver and definitely one capable of clawing his way back into the picture and making up some points here as we get into the mid-season stretch. Right here, we've got a driver we haven't talked a lot about recently, Philip Van Vliet, driver of the 89 to the outside of Chris Mackey in the 17. This a battle for P14, just outside of the points for the stages right here. And stage points are going to be the name of the game for a lot of these drivers back here. Anderson, Koblenz, Mackey, Van Vliet, even Campbell back there in the 60. These are a handful of drivers that are consistently just in the top 10 or just out of the top 10, always flirting with those points, and, you know, here or there on any given week will either just be getting some or just outside. So makes a big deal for a lot of these drivers. Every one of these positions is a world of a difference.
Yeah, Lee Campbell goes way wide on his corners here, and maybe I don't know if he missed two corners in a row here. Could we be seeing a very unconventional line here from the 60? We'll look down here in turn one again.
Yeah, we very well could be. I mean, we've already seen one very unconventional line out of the 48, and I tell you what,
this is not a mistake anymore.
No, this is intentional from Lee Campbell. It could be handling related, as, you know, Lee's not necessarily going forward.
He's got an issue. He is off the pace or something.
Yeah, that was really slow. Something's going on with driver number 60 at the moment. Unsure as to the situation there. Doesn't look like he's had any hard contact at any point. Truck looks relatively clean.
You can see him now. He's getting down to the inside line here, possibly, as he's going to cycle in front of Carter Lawson. But a really weird-looking line from the 60. There's got to be something brewing underneath the hood of that 60, as he is considerably off the pace here.
Considerably off the pace is true, and I'll tell you what, I wonder if... Oh yeah, Lee Campbell in pit road right now, coming down and onto the pit lane. I'm not sure what happened to driver 60, but situation we'll monitor as the evening goes on. We're with Dustin Ping and Tanner Marr at the moment, watching the battle for P5 on track as this run starts to draw itself out a little bit longer. These tires start to get some laps on them, and these drivers start to figure out where they're going. Right here, Ed Jurgen, head of Nathan Dustin, Eric Anderson. This battle for P9.
And this is the ever important battle for stage points. Looking at Ed Jurgen currently in 9th, Nathan Dufton in 10th, Eric Anderson in 11th. These drivers know that you very well could miss the playoffs based on what happens out here tonight at New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, every last point is going to matter with no more winning in, and with the wild card being the case for 2 drivers come the end of the regular season. It very well could come down to a position at New Hampshire, a position at Las Vegas, a position wherever. You're going to need all of it, the stage positions included, stage points included. Those are freebies up for grabs. You got to go take them, though. They're not just going to fall in your lap, so... We see Eric Anderson looking for some stage points. That's been Eric's big issue so far this season. Eric would be much higher in points if he was getting stage points consistently. He's been finishing consistent enough to keep himself in the top 10 in points. But with some stage points, that could make all the difference for driver number 43 right now. He's 17 points above the cut line, and you just can't help but to wonder if he was scoring some more stage points, how much better that could look.
Trying to score some stage points out here tonight, as we are going to see 10 laps to go in the stage. Stage number 2 does conclude at the end of lap number 90 out here this evening. Cody Gibson, still your race leader. Andrew Caldwell in 2nd place. Dwayne Young, we were talking about Dwayne Young possibly losing short run speed, has made his way back up to 3rd in front of Matt Semple behind the 46 of Caldwell.
That he has. I was just about to bring it up as I just saw it a minute ago. Dwayne Young back on the hunt. The race has swung back his direction again. Now, stage 2, shorter than stage 1 in terms of green flag laps right here, so he's not going to have as much time. Caldwell's not going to fight him too much. He knows he's faster. He's just going to let Dwayne try and go chase down Cody Gibson. Now, it'll be real interesting to see. Now that Dwayne Young's in clean air, he's got the tire advantage, he's got the line advantage. Can he chase down Cody Gibson in these remaining laps? We'll keep an eye.
That's gonna be a big ask, Arie.
It is
2.25 seconds and 9 laps to make it happen. We'll take a look at the lap time history here for first place and second place. Let's take a look between the 1 and the 2. Last time by, Cody Gibson just a little bit faster, but as expected because Dwayne was working through lap traffic, traffic of Andrew Caldwell. This time by, when it updates, is really going to be the true test of what the 48's got.
That it is, and so far based on the eye test, it might not be to Gibson, but to Caldwell right behind him, that is a big gap to pull in just about 1 lap. So across the line we go right here. Let's watch these numbers update. It's going to be 3/10. I don't know, Tom. That's a big amount for 1 lap.
It is, but Cody Gibson is also in some race traffic, in some lap traffic, as he just had to get around Casey Tomlinson. But now Dwayne's
issues for Dwayne Young. Issues for Dwayne Young. I do believe he has crashed. As we were talking about him, Dwayne Young with some issues here. Out of turn 2, just loses the truck. Oh, do not want to see that.
No caution for that incident here. Let's take another look and see if we can't. You just hear him. Is he shifting?
He might have been shifting. That was very high on the revs. I don't think it would be the first time. I think I've heard a couple drivers potentially shifting through the corners here. It's a decent hit to the front left. Hopefully no suspension damage. On paper, I wouldn't think, but that wheel does look like yeah. He's going to have to spend some time on pit road at the end of the stage break here, and hopefully it's manageable. Hopefully they can get that fixed and running good again. He's going to have plenty of time. We have a 110-lap final stage, so maybe not all over for Dwayne Young, but very unfortunate to see out of one of the faster drivers this evening.
Cody Gibson continues to grow his lead over second place now. Andrew Caldwell, Matt Semple in third, Dustin Ping in fourth, Tanner Marr currently rounds out the top 5 as drivers begin to think about the end of stage number 2 here. But tough break for the 48 machine. I don't know if that's more of a benefit for the 48 or more of a hindrance for the 48 that we didn't get a caution there. You know you're getting a caution on lap 90, so you may as well come down and take the take the damage at that point, but maybe you wouldn't have lost so many spots. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Tom. I think if I'm the 48, I would have wanted a caution there and, you know, had all the time in the world to make sure everything's squared away and fixed. Because, you know, in my mind, if I go through that and I'm the 48, you know, I don't care if I'm, like, mid-pack or back of the pack. If I spun out from second place, I spun out from second place. At that point, go down, fix everything I possibly can. Hopefully I have as much time to do it. Give me, you know, all the cautions in the world before we get into stage 3, and let me just start from scratch. Start from the back, but with a clean truck, so... We'll see how it goes for driver 48, but in the meantime, someone is breathing a whole lot easier. That someone's driving a Flamin' Hot Cheetos truck in P1 by 3 seconds as we get ready to cross the line and make it 2 to go in stage number 2.
Yes, he most certainly is. Cody Gibson has now opened up to about a 3-second lead over second place Andrew Caldwell and Matt Semple. Not too far behind that group either, but let's take a look back here. The battle for stage points back here. Eric Anderson currently at 9th over the 47. Got a little bit of breathing room. That's Casey Thomason. Some lap traffic in between the 43 and the 47. Let's take a look and see. Mike Stiverson is putting that truck to work out here tonight as Rick Thompson's going to take a look down to the inside. This could be for an 11th place in the stage.
It very well will be for an 11th place. And I tell you what, Tom, this is the second time Rick Thompson has driven up to 11th place in a stage, because at the end of stage 1, he spent about a minute and a half on pit road fixing that damage, went all the way to the back, and did the same thing all over again. These guys better watch out in stage 3. We haven't seen Rick get up there in the top 10 yet, but he is clearly fast enough. Final lap in stage number 2 as we're on board with Nathan Dufton. This is going to be the moment the caution comes out. That's going to determine our stages. The 47, 10th place car, final point, goes across the line. That's our yellow. And with that, we have got our stage 2 results. Cody Gibson, driver of the #1 Flamin' Hot Cheetos Chevy Silverado, winner of a couple weeks ago in Nashville, is going to come out here and win stage number 2 in New Hampshire, following up that pole performance. Cody Gibson, 10 points on the board, followed by Andrew Caldwell in second, scoring a solid 9 points. Dustin Ping in third, Matt Semple in fourth. Tanner Marr with 6 points, coming home in the top 5 at the end of stage 2. Brad Holmes, double-double, going to be scoring 5 points at the conclusion of stage 2, followed by Ed Jurgen in the 92. Gary Bowman, driver number 8, finishes in 8th in stage 2. Eric Anderson getting those stage points. That's what he needed to do, and he came out here and got 2 in stage 2. We'll take that for driver 43. Nathan Dufton, driver of the 47, going to score the final stage point of stage 2, just ahead of Thompson, Stiverson, and the rest. All of these drivers going to be getting corralled, getting ready to head down pit road for the second time this evening for many of them. We got a handful of drivers with some damage. We'll keep an eye on those getting some damage fixed, losing some positions to do so. A lot of storylines to follow here in this race, but one thing is for sure, and that's just about every driver is going to be pulling down on pit road right here for some new tires.
The field being led down onto pit road by Cody Gibson, Andrew Caldwell, Dustin Pink, currently the top 3 as they come down. So trying to keep track mentally here, Arie. Cody Gibson and pretty much the entire field, would you agree, would you disagree that most of this field will have 2 tire changes left for stage number 3? And remember, they get about 50 laps on a set of tires. So let's say that we run a full 50 laps. That's going to bring us to about 140 and about lap 190. So there is no room for green-white checkers for the entire field here.
There is not, and I tell you what, Tom, I think we're close enough to that window that we're going to start to see some fuel strategy. I think that we're close enough to making that a one-stop if you stretch it out and save some fuel, that, you know, a handful of drivers are probably going to go for it. If I was a driver sitting 12th to 20th place or even further back right now, I'm probably going to try and think about stretching some fuel in and making that strategy work, whereas, you know, maybe some of these leaders here don't want to get that risky and they're just going to play it safe with a 2-stop, or whether that be, you know, twice for the tires or, you know, once and then towards the end with a splash, whatever the case. But it'll be interesting, Tom. It'll be real interesting to see how it all shakes out, and Cody Gibson, Andrew Caldwell going to be on the front row for this restart. Dwayne Young. Did Dwayne Young go a lap down out of the pit exit? See, this is a big
That's
implication.
going to be... Yeah, so now Dwayne... That's... Now Dwayne needs a lot to go right in order for this race to turn around. And that's not saying that we can't get a quick caution. New Hampshire is very easy to miss a mark, or very easy to... We've seen a lot of different lines, we'll say it that way. But Dwayne Young now paints himself into a box here as we approach the halfway point of tonight's race.
And he does. Him and Logan Spencer in the 19. The only car is 1 lap down as we run. Pace car is going to pull off. Cody Gibson on the inside. Gonna hit the loud pedal, and we are a go. Stage 3, 105 laps from this point. Caldwell in second, Ping in third, down into turn 1. Coming out of turn 2 right here, Cody Gibson in the lead. Caldwell is going to scrape the wall just a little bit. We've seen how aggressive Dustin Ping will be on the bottom. Sends it deep in there, tries to use that apron a little bit, gets to the inside of Gibson, has to make him think. Here comes Caldwell on the outside looking for the run. Caldwell is going to get sideways. Fantastic save.
We got an issue on the front stretch for somebody. Leroy, oh, looks like Leroy may have gone around here.
Yeah. Seems as though issues for Leroy Koblenz. Let's see if we can't queue up a little bit of a replay right here and see what happened here for Leroy. Having issues with the replays right at the moment. Okay, let's jump up here with Leroy. Oh, wow, okay, we had a lot of drivers in here. Looks like the replay wants to send us at a weird time. We're gonna rewind it up, rewind the tape just a little bit. Let's see how all of this started. It looks like it started with Nathan Dufton. Let's get a good line up here as we head into the corner. This is turns 3 and 4. This is Nathan Dufton. Gets loose in a 3-wide situation right in front of the drivers. 17 hits him. The 42 hits him. The 09 of Steven Music had nowhere to go. Into the inside wall they go. Everyone in the back's got to check up just a little bit. Dinsmore in the 62 is going to run into Music just a little bit right there. And I do believe Dwayne Young then gets hooked by the 09 after the caution has come out. So more issues for Dwayne Young having been a lap down. That's probably going to negate his lucky dog that he might have gotten otherwise. That is an interesting happenstance right there for the 48 to have been involved in that secondary issue right there. Do not want to see that, but lots of chaos on that one. Lots of things going wrong. Back up front, it's still Cody Gibson. Dustin Ping in second, Andrew Caldwell in third, and Brad Holmes double quietly up to P4. None of these drivers going to be coming down to take any tires at the moment, though I tell you what, we're probably going to have some drivers further back who are fancying this as a chance to top off on some fuel and put themselves in a position to make the rest of the race. We'll see if anyone elects to jump down right here as we circle around. Maybe they're feeling a little bit better about it. We got Larry Bell on pit road towards the back at the moment. Only one currently diving down as the leaders double on up, getting ready to go back. They might even be able to save enough on this one to make it a one-stop. Having that caution and the ability to save some fuel under this caution could potentially be enough to put these drivers in a spot to all stretch it to a one-stop. And it'll still require a little bit of stretching. It'll still mean that these drivers have to watch their fuel just a little bit. Going to be Cody Gibson on the inside, Dustin Ping on the outside. That is our front row as we approach the restart. Caldwell and Holmes on row 2. Marr and Semple on row 3. Pace car is going to get ready, going to pull down, and Cody Gibson in control of the race once more. We're going to restart as we take lap number 100. The conclusion of this lap will be halfway through this race. Everyone getting up through the gears, making their way on down, and into turn 1 we roll. We see Caldwell down on there on the apron trying to make some headway as Gibson runs away with the lead. Ping solidly in second, uncontested. Back here we've got a battle for third. It's Caldwell, it's Marr, and it's Holmes. You see Jurgen a little further back, going way up on the track, but Caldwell's going to have the advantage of the high side. Couple wall slaps from the 00 and the 16. Good buddies there, and even in hitting the wall apparently, but Brad Holmes going to hold on to P4 right here at the conclusion of that battle. And what a night it's been for driver number 4, Tanner Marr, with one of his most impressive showings of the season so far. He felt like crap, I believe was the word he used earlier, at least someone on the team, and Tanner was not feeling good about this race tonight, but has been up flirting with the top 5, and oh no! Tanner Marr, commentator's curse, just avoids pit road. Gonna get it swung back around, get back on track. Caution is indeed out, and man, unfortunate self-spin for Tanner Marr right there. I just had to talk him up as he got ready to go around. See if we can't get a replay on this one. We'll go back here to this one right here. We got Tanner Marr coming through turns 3 and 4, battling it out for the top 5. Just gets loose. Got that truck unsettled on the banking. Just a little bit too much right there, and I'd be curious to see if we can't get an onboard shot with Tanner Marr right here. Nope, that is not going to do it. That's not going to be the one we need, so we'll go live right here. And back up front, Cody Gibson in control of this race, restart after restart. All these cautions are doing is putting these drivers in a position where they no longer have to save to make it a one-stop. This is becoming a more and more comfortable one-stop race to the end, and that'll be something to keep our eye on. In the meantime, while we're... Go ahead, Tom.
No, I apologize. So let's take a look. Last time by that most of these drivers came down on pit road, those numbers are super small for me. Last time by that most of these drivers came down on pit road was lap 92. We have had 2 quick cautions here to begin stage number 3 after stage 1 and 2 ran mostly clean from start to finish. This will allow them to run to about, do we dare say about 155, 160?
I tell you what, Tom, I think I'm seeing some saving under caution regardless, and I was kind of talking about this a minute ago, but I think with these 2 cautions, we're in an easy one-stop situation from here for every single driver on track. I think that's put us in that window.
All right, well, we are going to find out. I tell you what, though, one driver ran a quiet race out here tonight so far, as usual. Honk if you love bacon, Mr.
Oink.
Gary Bowman.
Oink if you love bacon.
Oink if you love bacon. Gary Bowman out here in new colors for the 2025 Season 2. Got some green Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network logos on the back of that truck. Gary has been making his way forward, only up 1 spot from his qualifying position. I don't see a scratch on that truck.
No, Gary's run a very quiet race this evening, been lingering towards the back half of the top 10 so far. And Gary's second in points. Let's not forget, he's 73 points above the cut line. Gary Bowman has had a fantastic season so far, and he is the Mr. Consistent of this league if there were one. Pace car's off. Cody Gibson going to hit the loud pedal, and away we roll. A little bit of an accordion effect further on back in the field, but seems like everyone's going to get it going. Dustin Ping actually had a really good restart. He's going to stick it to the outside of Cody Gibson, try to keep that nose planted, try to make him think about it, but he cannot do so. Shifts it up to 4th gear coming down the back stretch and getting ready to think about another attack going into turns 3 and 4 right here. Down onto that kind of offset banking. We watch from the back of Cody Gibson right here. Dustin Ping's going to have something else to think about in his rearview mirror. It's the double-double machine. of the 00, Brad Holmes, up to P3.
Yeah, Brad Holmes started 9th on the board out here tonight, up 6 spots from his qualifying effort out here. Having a good run, putting some heat on the back of that ping machine, that number 81 Chevy Silverado, as we've got a couple of cars going around in the back. Is that the 62? It is the 62.
Indeed. Jason Dinsmore with issues along some others as well. Let's see if we can't queue up another one of those replays and see if we can't figure out what happened here, what's going on, and what led to what we seen just there. Looks like Andy Court coming off of the corner just hooks the 62 into the wall. Andy Court gets a bump from Steven Music, I do believe. And everyone's going to have to get it figured out right there. But let's see if we can't follow along with Steven Music on the same replay right here. See if we can't see what happened here with... I guess we're watching from Larry Bell's. You see those guys get tagged. You see the 41 get turned into the wall back there. Looks like that's really the extent of it. A couple drivers going through the grass. But... unfortunate if you're Jason Dinsmore getting hooked like that. Innocent bystander getting collected in that situation, got some damage on that truck. And Andy Cork, who was the one who kind of initiated that contact, then gets turned into the wall a little bit later on anyway. So unfortunate for the two of those this evening, though the damage looks repairable in both cases, and I think we'll be good. Leroy Koblenz got a little bit of damage to get fixed as well here. Going to go ahead and pull down and take that opportunity. Number of drivers in the back of the field right here. Dufton, Dinsmore, Spencer, Koblenz, Cork, and Letts all on pit road at the moment, presumably to get some damage fixed, maybe get some fuel while they're at it. And we're still in a position where we've got about 93 laps to the end of this race. It is only just over halfway concluded. While we wait for this caution to get cycled out and go back green, we're going to switch it on over to a quick commercial break real quick and get back at you, ready for some more action in just a minute. All right, we're back just in time. Here. There we go. Caught me at a good time, Tom.
From New Hampshire, Cody Gibson contacts second place. Dustin Ping goes around.
Oh my goodness.
Issues for the race leaders. Dave Gainforth goes around. Steven Music makes his way through. Oh my goodness.
All right, that's a way to shake it up. Get a couple of the race leaders involved right here. Let's see if we can't get a replay of this one as well. I'll tell you what. Ladies and gentlemen at home watching, we are getting quite the show at the moment this evening. We're gonna get the replay here on the restart. This is gonna happen for P2. Brad Holmes sends it into the corner, makes contact with the 81 of Dustin Ping, who gets out into that outside wall right there. There's some more issues further back. Dave Gainforth in the 101 gonna get turned around just a little bit. Let's see if we can't follow with Brad Holmes on this same incident right here. Maybe even get a little different peek right here. It looks like Brad Holmes was committed to running that traditional line around New Hampshire here, and Dustin wasn't ready for Brad to be occupying that second line. Dustin kind of comes down into the 00. They kind of meet somewhere in the middle for certain, and that causes a contact right there. Dustin Ping getting the worst end of it, And to add on to that, Dave Gainforth, unfortunately, also involved right here. Let's see if we can't ride on board with driver 101. Dave Gainforth, as that wreck happens a little further up, gets on the brakes, but Amanda Sherman had nowhere to go, couldn't react in time, gets into the back of driver 101, and no harm, no foul there. Dave's able to keep it going, just loses a couple positions. That's some intense battling between two of the more intense drivers up towards the front. Dustin Ping, Brad Holmes, both notoriously some of the more aggressive and more fearless drivers here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. And sometimes, I mean, that's just a recipe for what you see right there, just going for the same real estate. Tell you what, while we have all of these cautions underway, why don't we pull up our race leader, Stage 2 winner, Cody Gibson, driver of the number 1. And here we go, driver of the number 1, Cody Gibson. You won Stage 2. You got the pole tonight. You've been looking pretty untouchable outside of a couple moments at the 48 truck, but the 48's had a bit of a disaster go on for himself. How are you feeling here going into the rest of Stage 3?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, at 48 was doing something that I tried to replicate, but I couldn't do it, so I just stayed in fourth gear. Everybody else seems like they're shifting, but I'm not shifting. Keep that rear on it.
Oh, interesting bit of information. All right, I have seen most people shifting. Well, I tell you what, Cody, you've got something figured out. It's working out real good for you. A lot of restarts to test you. We're going to send you back down. Good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you, Arie.
All right, that was our race leader, Cody Gibson, not shifting. Interestingly enough, Tom, not shifting like most every other driver. All right, getting ready.
That could also save his tires as this race goes along, right? You keep the RPMs down, you're not spinning them as much on the rears, but a couple of quiet drivers that I see here on this restart. Chris Mackey has made his way up into a top 10 running position. Ed Jurgen, Rick Thompson now up inside the top 5 as we go green flag racing. Lap number 114 of 200 of the Jurgen's Lawn Care 200 out here tonight from the Magic Mile.
That we do, back going green again, and I tell you what, Tom, there are a lot of drivers who are licking their lips at the sight of the former second and third place drivers taking themselves out. This opens the door for drivers like Rick Thompson, who's now in the top 5, for drivers like Chris Mackey, who now has a shot at the top 5 right here. Those two positions are two big ones, and those drivers got a lot of work to do to claw their way back up, especially this late in the race, as we see Rick Thompson taking over third place from Andrew Caldwell, who's got to get out of the gas a little. Semple's looking a little vulnerable, and I don't think it's going to be too long before we see Rick Thompson trying to chase down Mr. Gibson, much like we saw in Nashville.
Single file for most of the top 10 running positions, but for how long? But first, side-by-side battle that we see out on track. Greg Mitchell had an incident earlier in tonight's race, trying to make his way back.
A little further back we were for a second.
Top 10.
Sorry to cut you off there, Tom. That looked like a recipe for disaster, so I wanted to make sure. I tell you what, it's that driver 48. Guess who's back on the lead lap and making up some positions?
Yeah, that 48 has certainly showed speed out here tonight. But you got, Arie, you come to these kind of moments, you got to put the entire race together. The incident that the 48 that started the downfall of the 48 out here tonight was a single car incident, just getting loose off of turn number 2. Very easy to do, but if you're going to win races, you can't do that.
That's absolutely right. And you know, I heard something really interesting lately, that there is no such thing as failure. It's just learning. And I think that's a good way to put what Dwayne is going through right here. We pulled him up, Tom, and he talked about how nervous he was. And that's, you know, that's understandable. He's new to the league. He's not used to running up front, having a good line, having it figured out. And, you know, he's getting overwhelmed by everything, but it's a learning experience, right? I think we've all kind of gone through those jitters when we're doing better than expected, or, you know, better than we've done in a very long time. And you get nervous. It's really easy to do so. You get the adrenaline, the heart gets going, and sometimes you make a mistake, and you learn from those, and I think Dwayne will learn from that in a big way. He's got a tall task ahead of him to make up the rest of the positions, get back up front before the end of the race, but I tell you what, if this race goes green, never mind. Yellow flag is out. And I was just about to say if it goes green, it plays in Dwayne Young's favor, but here we are under yellow. Issues for Steven Music by the looks of it. Let's see if we can pull up a replay and find out what happened to Mr. Music here. Let's see. Just another single car spin by the looks of it. Just added Dustin Ping right there. This is eerily similar to a spin.
Tanner's.
Yeah, to Tanner's spin earlier. Same spot, just missed the pit road. Doesn't hit anything. That was... You could have put a different skin on that truck and called it the same incident.
So Steven Music gets away with that without much damage, without much damage to his truck. Maybe a little bit damage to those 4 Goodyears that are on the truck, but does put him back in 25th place. But drivers that are... if there were passing points out here this season, not even just tonight, Rick Thompson has passed 26 trucks, started 29th on the board, and currently 3rd in the running order.
That is impressive. I was wondering how much it was, kind of recency bias or just eye test for me, kind of pushing for Rick Thompson so much the last little while based on what I've seen. But I mean, he continues to do it at track after track. And I mean, Tom, we're talking, quick at Rockingham. I believe that he was there, quick at Nashville, quick at Las Vegas, quick at New Hampshire. Like, there's not much about those tracks that correlate or drive similar. And Rick has gone out to each one of these races and shown that it doesn't matter where we go. I'm gonna be here.
And he another 1/4 of a second, and he would have won the race at Nashville, where Lee Campbell ran out of gas in a very dramatic fashion when Cody Gibson got the win. But you're not talking mistakes when this is repeated at different style tracks every season. I think Rick maybe got underestimated in our last season. Missed a couple of races here, missed a couple of races there. But Rick Thompson showing that we're not talking about flukes to start 25-2. We're talking about a championship contender.
That's absolutely right. And I think last season in a big way for Rick was also a kind of feeling it out season. I think it was his first full-time season in Cyber. And, he did miss races here and there, so I don't know how much it was full-time, but the intent was there. And I think Rick's been around long enough that he's familiar with these drivers. He knows how people race. He knows what he can do, what he can get away with, the level he needs to run at. And Rick's been really good at adapting to the environment around him and making the most of it. We've seen him steadily climb up the ranks and get ready to go up there and get his first win any day now.
The field being led back to the restart by Cody Gibson and Matt Semple on the front row. Rick Thompson, Andrew Caldwell, and Gary Bowman going to be your top 5 as the pace car going to get down and out of the way as we get set to begin lap number 123 here. In a moment, Greg Mitchell has 10-lap fresher tires, last pit on lap number 102. Otherwise, the majority of the field last pit on lap 92. As we get down and out of the way, Cody Gibson gets a pretty good restart there for the number 1.
That he does, and we're nearly 3 wide for P2 right there. Matt Semple going to get shoved out to the outside, and that's going to be Rick Thompson looking to the inside, trying to take away P2 for good right here, having the advantage of starting right behind the leader on that restart. Rick Thompson down the inside, elbows out.
Slide high.
Gonna force Semple up the track. We got another caution, and that is going to be caution number 11 on the evening. Looks like there are a handful of drivers involved in this one. Let's see if we can't head on back and find out what happened. It looks like issues for the 89 amongst others. Let's take a look here. 3 wide, 4 wide, down into the corner. Chris Wold drifts up the track, gets into the 4 and the 43. That gets into the 89. The 89 gets hit by the 47, the 62, and up into the wall. Just unbelievable turn of events here for Philip Van Vliet. Really hate to see that one. Let's see if we can get an aerial view right here. 4 wide, Chris Wold kind of drifts up into the track, into some others. It's just a chain reaction, just a domino effect from there. And Philip is getting bounced around like a ping pong ball. up into the wall, and really unfortunate stuff for the lone Dutchman, Philip Van Vliet, who started the season out so well and has been running really consistently, where he has getting caught up in incidents not of his own making. Sometimes that's just the nature of it. And with that, we are 11 cautions in, and riding through stage 3 about as slowly as possible. We're not worrying about tire wear. We're not worrying about fuel. This has turned the race into something we didn't expect it to be. But I tell you what, I got my eyes on Dwayne Young, driver 48, who was on the inside at the start of that incident right there. Dwayne Young is up to P11. And don't forget, Dwayne was the Stage 1 winner, has the arguably the fastest truck out there this evening, but had to contend with a self-spin, went to the back of the pack, got involved in an incident a little bit later on. He's had a lot to work through. He went a lap down at one point. Now, just on the precipice of the top 10, Dwayne needs a long run or two. He needs this race to run green to the end. Sure, these cautions bunch everyone back up, but that 48 truck isn't built for these short runs. That 48 truck is built to make up that time, to save those tires, to track everyone down kind of as the laps tick by. So we'll see how it works out right here. Looks like Chris Walden, the 32, going to be dropping to the back of the pack as a result of that caution. That will be a benefit, I think, for Dwayne Young and the rest up there. So 32 dropping back. We jump back on board with the race leaders as we get ready to go green. Cody Gibson, Matt Semple.
A familiar sight up front, Gibson and Semple. That's the top two. Rick Thompson. Now that Rick is got an opportunity in row number 2 here, he's been there for the past couple of restarts. I think Rick really wants this race to get a long green flag run that we saw early in the opening stages. Out here tonight, I think if we get a long green flag run, that may pay dividends into the 76, but the green flag is back out once again from the Magic Mile. Cody Gibson once again with a great restart, going to clear Matt Semple down into turn number 1 by a truck lead, and Rick Thompson trying to hold on to third place as they come out. Andrew Caldwell, a little bit of contact in the wall. Looks like maybe Brad Holmes also in the wall a little bit further back in the field.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Tom. Rick Thompson is one of those drivers who's going to benefit from a longer run. In both stages, Rick started at the back, climbed his way all the way up to 11th. Oh, big, hard contact into the wall behind. That's going to send the 0-5 spinning. And I didn't quite catch who that was that went into the wall. Carter Lawson, by the looks of it, going to cause a little bit of a chain reaction there. Let's see if we can pull this up. We've got a caution out yet again, unfortunately, as we see Carter Lawson right here. Out of turn 4, just gets a wiggle right into the wall, breaks the suspension. There's a stack up behind, and unfortunately, Leroy Koblent's going to get a bad part of that, as well as Larry Bell, unfortunately, going to get a huge piece of that incident right there. Let's see if we can ride on board with Larry Bell all the way up at the wall, as drivers are fanning out 2, 3, 4 wide. Lawson just into the wall. Bell's got nowhere to go, and he's the second car in line, so he's the one who gets shuffled out, nose first into the wall, and just have to wait for everyone to go by at that point. I also want to take a look with Leroy Koblent. I kind of want to see what Leroy saw right here as well. Leroy was the other car who's got a lot of damage out of this. Into the wall they go. Bell slows up, and yeah, Leroy is just going to get into his left rear quarter panel, and that's going to equally hurt the right front of Leroy's truck. Now, that right front, a little more important. That wheel is not responding the same way. You can almost see how that truck is driving a little differently already, and he'll be wanting to get that fixed before we go green again, if at all possible. All right, back up front, same story we've been preaching. It's Cody Gibson in P1, Matt Semple in P2. It's Rick Thompson and Andrew Caldwell on the second row. We got Chris Mackey very quietly up into the top 5 up to this point this evening. The scoring says number 9, but we promise Chris Mackey is number 17, as the paint scheme suggests. Just a little bit of a timing and scoring error right there. As we run, a lot of drivers starting to slowly make up positions, just picking these other guys off as more incidents happen. One thing I've noticed is that double Brad Holmes back up to P11, just outside the top 10, after being involved in that incident with Dustin Ping, was once upon a time running in second place, and clawing his way back up all the way into just the outer reaches of the top 10 conversation. Keeping track of the progress for driver 48, Dwayne Young, P9 at the moment, and on this restart, going to be on the inside of row 5, and the inside's all you got to say for Dwayne to be smiling ear to ear. Going to have a good chance to make up some more ground here. Looking for a longer run, though. 12 cautions in. We're going to restart with 70 laps to go. Let's see if these drivers can get it corrected, get it going the right way, and get us a long green flag run.
Pace car once again going to get down and out of the way. It's a familiar sight up front, just like it was last restart. Cody Gibson takes the inside lane for this restart. Matt Semple to his outside. Rick Thompson trying to take the race lead from third place, and Andrew Caldwell still running in fourth. Now, when you're getting these short runs here, Arie, how important is it for Matt Semple or Rick Thompson to maybe dethrone Cody Gibson and get controls the race as we see more cars going around on the exit of 2? I saw the 20 and others.
I think the 00 as well. You'll have to ask me that question again after the caution, but let's see if we can go back and figure it out. This is going to be caution number 13 on the evening, and it shows that we haven't been in New Hampshire in quite a while. Let's see here if we can't follow along with what happened a little bit further up. It looks like the 20 and the 00 get together, and the 20 checks up, the 47 gets involved. Dustin Ping with potentially race-ending damage right there. Very unfortunate. I would love to see this from the perspective of Mike Stiverson in the 20 machine. Let's see if we can't go on board with driver number 20, Mike Stiverson, right here on the bottom of the track. Oh, I'm sorry. I had the I had the wrong driver queued up right here. Let's try this one more time right here with driver number 20 and even rewind that tape just a little bit. I would love to see a little bit of a better indication throughout the corner here. Everyone's shuffling for position. The 00 gets to the outside, and Mike's kind of holding his line for the most part. The 00 just coming off into the corner, very, very low on the racetrack. Could very well be deemed a racing incident or what have you, but unfortunate coming together of those two. And one more perspective I would like to see in this one as well is that of Dustin Ping. If we can jump on board with Dustin Ping, because Ping got some very, very severe damage out of this one. Nowhere to go. Hits the 47, hits the wall, and that is going to be some pretty terminal damage for Dustin Ping, one of our top 5 drivers on speed this evening, who got caught a little further back in the pack, and unfortunately caught up in the hornet's nest, as it were. All right, let's see if we can just the cameras right here. There we go. Cody Gibson holds on to the lead. Matt Semple in second, Rick Thompson third, Andrew Caldwell fourth, and Chris Mackey in fifth. Not much has changed in that regard. Dwayne Young up a position into P8. Going to be restarting on the outside right there. Lights are out on the pace car for the 13th time this evening. 14th if you count the race start. And with that, this field has gotten shaken up just a little bit more. We've got the War Wagon, Amanda Sherman, driver 88, now in the top 10 for the first time this evening. Going to be restarting on the outside of row 5 alongside Gary Bowman right there. Amanda Sherman, one of those drivers who knows how to survive these races and stick around to the end, outlive some of these drivers, and survive the races of attrition in a good way.
Barney the Flagman's got the green flag back up in the air once again as we get set to go racing from New Hampshire Motor Speedway under the guidance of Cody Gibson. The entire field's going to come down into turn number 1 once again here, but Cody Gibson gets a great restart as usual over second place Matt Semple.
I'll tell you what, we got a battle going on for third, and it's Andrew Caldwell trying to fight back. Doesn't want Rick Thompson to go so easily. Getting a little bit late in this race. And Andrew Caldwell is going to be fighting just a little harder for that position. Let's not forget, Tom, Andrew Caldwell is currently sitting 3rd in the points, and he's running ahead of both of the 2 drivers who are 1st and 2nd. That's Greg Mitchell and Gary Bowman. Andrew Caldwell having the best showing out of those 3 this evening. As we see a little further back, driver 48, Dwayne Young doing everything he can to get back to the bottom of the track. He wants to run that line. Problems for Chris Mackey, who got a little loose by the looks of it. Out of turn 2, he's going to lose a couple positions, drop down to the back half of the top 10, and we're on board with Dwayne Young, watching him run that line down by the apron, trying to make some headway, make up for some lost time from earlier. Caution's out again, though. This is going to be number 14 on the evening, and I'm not sure who's involved, but let's see if we can't find out just a little bit. Might be a couple drivers by the looks of it. We might be able to head on back here and see if we can see. We had some off tracks. Oh, it looks like it started a little further up. Eric Anderson involved. These guys getting involved a little bit further back. Not exactly sure where this one started. We'll see if we can continue to jump around here. Okay, we've got Eric Anderson. Take a little zoomed out view right here. Gonna get tagged by the 62 Jason Dinsmore. Anderson gets sideways. Brad Holmes gets a little piece of that, and I think the mayhem ensued a little bit further back as a result of you just saw right there. See if we can get one more shot right here. We cannot. Those cameras are not having a good time. Apologies for that. But back up we go to the live cameras. And I tell you what, while we're pacing around so frequently, why don't we pull up driver in P3, Mr. Rick Thompson, and see what Rick's got to say after getting himself so far up in the race and looking at the race leader as he is. See if I can't manage to do so. Oh, not looking like I can. I don't know if you can, Tom.
Let's see. I think we can make that happen for you.
There we go. All right, we got driver in P3. It's Rick Thompson, driver of the 76. Rick, you've got yourself up into the top 3. You've had a very up and down evening. You spent the first 2 stages coming from the back up to the outside of the top 10, and now you're up here staring down the top 2. You've been having a hard time with Caldwell, but how do you feel going into the rest of stage 3 here?
I feel pretty good. I feel like if we could get some green flag runs, I feel like I'm as fast as Cody is, so I think if I can get around Matt here, then I can give him something for the end of this thing. But yeah, I feel pretty good, feel pretty racy.
Heck yeah, that's what we love to hear. Could be a little bit of vengeance after what happened in Nashville. Maybe turn the tides and get one over on Cody this time. We'll send you back down there. Good luck for the rest of the evening.
Well, Rick Thompson is the biggest mover of the night, up 26 spots from his qualifying position. Again, started 29th on the board. But don't look now, that 48 machine, after some trials and tribulations, just on the outside of the top 5 looking in, looking for some green flag laps. We were talking about the short run speed versus the long run speed that 48 needs, and we will see if that 48 gets what he needs on this next restart out here tonight. But Cody Gibson once again brings us down to turn number 1. Dwayne Young takes no time to get down all the way to the apron.
No, he doesn't. I tell you what, Tom, you were just saying the words "get what he needs," and he saw the opening to get to the bottom, so he got what he needs. I tell you that much. And wow, Dwayne Young is just going for it. But look at this, Amanda Sherman all the way up to P6 as a result of all the chaos that's going on right now. That War Wagon slowly climbing up the ranks and doing pretty good. We got a 3-wide battle for just a moment. Leave it up to Dwayne. It'll go 3-wide again before too long. That 48 truck is on a mission, and now he's got the race leaders in sight. We heard Rick Thompson just say he's confident. That 76 truck thinks he's as fast as the race leader, but that 76 truck hasn't really had to contend with that 48, so we'll see what happens if we keep this run going.
A little bit of a bobble from the 48 on the exit of turn number 2. Here comes Jurgen, the race sponsor for tonight's Jurgen's Lawn Care 200, out here in New Hampshire, trying to make a pass for a top 5 running position on the 48 of Dwayne Young. But I think Dwayne is going to protect that outside line and hold on to a top 5 running position. But Amanda Sherman having a great running position out here tonight. And there's a little bit of fun banter going on in the chat right now. Ed Jurgen is asking if Corey Sherman is driving in the 88 after the 92 and the 88 just made contact.
Love that. I do think that contact might have hurt Amanda Sherman, maybe even more than we realized. It was just at the right spot that we saw Amanda lose a couple positions right there. Might have affected the handling just a little bit. Hopefully nothing too bad for driver 88, but great showing from Amanda. Greg Mitchell. Hard into the wall, our points leader. Gonna get some damage on the right front as we see him go by right here. That front right tire, at a glance, looked like it was not too happy, but we'll keep an eye on that situation up front. It's Matt Semple holding off Rick Thompson because Rick Thompson is ready to take over P2. Done and away with Andrew Caldwell behind and now getting his elbows out with driver 16, who's been comfortably in P2 for much of this race through the chaotic stage 3.
And this is huge here for Rick Thompson. If he's able to make that pass, if we get another quick yellow, that's going to now put Rick on the front row for the next restart here. I think Rick probably has the best passing truck out here tonight, maybe aside from the 48. So if we get another restart, keep an eye on that 76 now that he's going to be on the front row.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And if anything, Tom, I think in terms of passing in racecraft, that 76 might be the truck on track right now because of the fact that he's passed more trucks this evening than any other truck. And I don't have that stat, I just know it. I just from what I've seen, the 48 has the line and he has the speed. And he's still had to pass a lot of drivers, but I think that 76 has had a lot of experience with it so far this evening, and that's going to benefit him if he can get up there and challenge for the race lead.
Well, don't count out this 48 truck. This race is far from over. We are still expecting, let's not forget, we're still expecting another pit stop to occur probably maybe now around the lap 160, 170 mark is probably the top end of their limit. But this race is far from over. That 48 truck is going to get up there and be a factor before this race is over. Points leader Greg Mitchell has had an up and down night so far, but hasn't had the dominating night that we've seen from the 55 and his 2 previous wins this season.
We have not, but this is a really fun battle between Mitchell and Young as they go at it. A little bit of Mitchell taking his line away on the last lap and a crossover from Dwayne Young. They have not gotten rid of either driver yet. Looks like finally Dwayne Young's going to have to concede the spot to Greg Mitchell. And, you know, you got to wonder how, all of the different heat cycles on the tires. These trucks probably handle nothing like they would in a traditional green flag sense after so many stop and go moments. So how much is that playing a factor? Not entirely sure, but interesting to see, you know, this far removed from a pit stop, somebody going up there and you know, outperforming the 48 in a big way.
And you can see Dwayne gets a little bit loose down there on the inside line. Battles back here for about 10th place right now between Chris Mackey and Tanner Marr. Those are teammates out of the Five Kings Motorsports camp trying to make their way forward. But another Five Kings driver up in the race lead right now is Cody Gibson. Kind of trying to get the second win for the team. I guess I'll say it that way. I'm not going to say it the way that I originally thought about it, but Cody Gibson trying to get the second win for the team in 5 races out here through 2025 Season 2. Teammates Cody Gibson, Tanner Marr, Chris Mackey, and Larry Bell all out here on the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series as we have got battles happening all around the track out here right now. Ed Jurgen under fire from Brad Holmes in that 00 Ford F-150. Now I think is about the point in the run here, Arie, that maybe we'll see if that 48's got anything. Now's about the time that we're going to start to see it.
I tell you what, Tom, I tend to agree. With every lap that goes by, it plays into the 48's hands. What we've seen up to this point is that, you know, these drivers have kind of been a little quicker than him. He's made up some positions on the restarts, but for the most part, the 55 got around him. He drove away from him. He's now under pressure from these guys. We might still be seeing a little bit more of the low tire wear, kind of shorter run style of speed out of these drivers right now, and that doesn't benefit the 48. We got to wait for that to swing around. But again, another part of it could definitely be the heat cycles on those tires. These tires could be acting entirely different from any other situation given all of the stop and go that we've had up to this point. And we can see Ed Jurgen around the outside, a couple lanes up the track, is going to take that corner faster than the 48. And I think that's a big sign right there that, you know, it's not quite where it needs to be for Dwayne, but with each lap that goes by, we are getting into 48 territory. And, you know, looking a little further up, Cody Gibson driving away from Rick Thompson. That gap has slowly but steadily grown just a little bit. We were wondering when Rick Thompson got up to second place, got clear, got the leaders in his sights. Could he go chase him down? Could he make something happen? And so far, it hasn't been too long since the restart. We're sitting at 2.25 seconds of a gap. We'll see if Rick Thompson can make up that gap. And as a matter of fact, Tom, can we go on board with second place Rick Thompson? We know Cody Gibson's not shifting. He told us himself that he wasn't shifting through the corners. Is Rick Thompson shifting at all through the corners? It sounds like really low revs all the way down into the 4,000s. Rick is not shifting either. Now, I believe if we jump back on the 48, for example,
Dwayne Young, 48 coming onto pit road, Arie. I apologize for interrupting, but the 48 coming down onto pit road right now.
All right, interesting call from the 48. Wants to be one of the first drivers to do so. We know he's got long run speed. He doesn't mind taking those tires a long way. We'll see. Hopefully this is a good solid pit stop for driver 48, and we'll have to see if he brings any other drivers down on pit road and keep an eye on that pit stop time at that.
And I was just going to ask, now we are well within the fuel window, maybe minus a couple of green-white checkers or so, but the time difference that Dwayne Young is going to pick up over race leader Cody Gibson, Dwayne Young very well could come out as the race lead. We will keep an eye on that on the track map as this round of green flag pit stops begins to get underway.
I tell you what,
Cody Gibson with about a 2.25 second lead over Rick Thompson right now is now maybe Greg Mitchell possibly coming down on pit road, maybe not. Never mind. Something else from the 55.
I've got unfortunate news for you, Tom. Speeding penalty for driver 48 Dwayne Young being held on pit road for almost a minute now total in his box.
Oh my goodness.
Dwayne Young going for an alternate strategy and or going for an early strategy, a pit stop that could very well have turned the tides in this race, but speeding penalty for driver 48. When exactly that happened, I'm not sure. Doesn't look like it was on entry, Tom, but
it had to have been on entry. It wouldn't have. He wouldn't have been able to. They held him before the pit exit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. I tell you what, Rick Thompson, next driver on pit road, and he was in P2, so this will be a real story to keep an eye on at the moment. And more issues for Dwayne Young in the 48. Nearly brings out a caution. Spinning right in front of the leader. Cody Gibson slides through the corner, I should say. Kept it straight, but unfortunate turn of events this evening for driver 48 as we see Ed Jurgen pull down on pit road. It's going to be Chris Mackey in the 17 following Ed Jurgen onto the pit lane right here. More and more drivers starting to peel down and go ahead and get those tires to take them towards the end of the race. Be interesting to see all of the different strategies that all of our drivers start to take. The race leader has still yet to pull down on pit road. Andrew Caldwell in P4 going to be coming down.
On board with the number 88 War Wagon of Amanda Sherman as she will be coming down this time by. Let's see what Amanda is able to get down onto pit road at. Amanda brings that 88 truck down to 45 miles an hour. As the field continues to race around Andrew Caldwell. So now this kind of plays into Cody Gibson on pit road.
Here we go.
That's the race leader.
That it is. Cody Gibson responding to some of the pit stops now. He waited a couple laps, and I do believe that might put us in a position where Rick Thompson cycles out ahead of Cody Gibson. There will be a little bit of a tire discrepancy. and it'll be interesting to see how much the tire discrepancy versus the track position, you know, it makes a difference. If I were Cody Gibson and I knew I was undercut by Rick Thompson, I'm probably staying out a little bit longer, like we're seeing out of Greg Mitchell right here. I'm probably going to give it a healthy 5 or 6 laps to make sure I have that tire differential when I do come down and start to chase down the guy who cut me.
Take a look here of Andrew Caldwell. Cody Gibson begins to make his way out of pit road. Andrew Caldwell came down a lap or 2 ago, but does not look like he is going to overtake Cody Gibson, as Cody's got about 3 seconds on Andrew Caldwell as they work down into the entry of 3 and 4 and the exit of 4. But while this has all happened, this has passed the race lead over to Greg Mitchell. Driver number 55, very up and down night for Mitchell and that number 55. The points leader coming into tonight's race. If we get a caution right now, everything you know, everything you've written down on paper, open up a window and throw it out.
Oh, could not be more correct, Tom. And we're seeing the last handful of drivers start to cycle through their pit stops at this point. It's kind of a snowball effect. You know, when enough drivers start pitting, it kind of brings down most others because they don't want to be so far off sequence of everybody else. And now we see race leader Greg Mitchell pulling down on pit road, going to give it up to Brad Holmes and Tanner Marr, who are going to continue to stay out. Now running 1-2, nose to tail.
And we've seen this out of Tanner the past couple of weeks where he tried to run long. Mike Stiverson, currently running up in 4th, has not yet pitted. Wait, hold on. Mike Stiverson pitted on lap number 132. Okay, so he came down on a caution. So that tells me, so Mike can run. Could we be seeing fuel games out of the 20? If they can run about 50 laps, 9 laps is almost impossible to save.
Well, I tell you what, Tom. The 20 looks damaged enough to be too low on speed to make anything else work. So why not, if you have the opportunity, get some fuel under the caution and go for it.
And the same thing for the 4 of Tanner Marr, last pitted on lap number 137 on a recent caution for the 4 of Tanner Marr. Tanner forgot to put the numbers on the side of his truck out here tonight. I was giving him a hard time about that earlier here tonight, and he promised me next week he would get that figured out, but could be 2 very fun fuel games. Now we look at Tanner Marr and we say 50 laps from Tanner's last pit puts him within, say, 5 or 6 laps of the finish.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love when we see converging strategies coming together, Tom. And, you know, with all of those cautions in a row, it didn't look like we were going to be playing the fuel game. But, I mean, here we are. These drivers will find a way. If it's out there, if there's even a shimmer of hope, even a chance, there will be at least one driver out there who's looking to take advantage of it. And let's not forget just, you know, the much simpler strategy of, I'm just going to stay out and hope for a caution that benefits my race. And, you know, that could very well be what we're seeing out of a driver like Brad Holmes right now, who's been caught up in some incidents, was fast enough to be in the top 5, but found himself lacking the track position as we close in on the later parts of this race. Now, maybe just a little bit of a move of desperation.
See, the battle for the race lead, maybe not the net race lead, but the battle for the current race lead between Brad Holmes and Tanner Marr. First and second on the board. Riding on board with the 4 of Tanner Marr, takes a look down to the inside of the 0-0 of Brad Holmes. Not able to make the pass that time by, but
I tell you what, as they continue to stay out, we are about to have a battle for the net race lead. That's Rick Thompson, Cody Gibson, as Ed Jurgen. Ooh. Ed Jurgen spins and brings out the yellow. This changes everything. Let's see if we can't figure out what happened with the 92 of Ed Jurgen right here. Getting into the corner. This is into turn 1. Ed Jurgen, oh, looks like a downshift at a bad point. Downshift and wheel hop just unsettles that truck entirely. Can't get it fired back up. Has to tow back to the pit lane. Let me see if we can't ride on board with Mr. Jurgen here. Yeah. Looks like a downshift that just went wrong. Downshifting on entry into the corner, trying to get the car woed up, and unfortunately for Ed, single car spin. Here we go then. This is going to get real interesting. We're probably going to see a lot of waiver rounds, assuming these drivers come down on the pit road, Tom. But Brad Holmes, Tanner Marr, it's paid out.
This really puts those drivers that came down a couple of laps ago kind of in a box, because now these this top 8 trucks here can come down, get 4 fresh tires. The drivers that need to come around, take a wave around, while they may have been the original race leaders, they're going to have, what would you call it, maybe 7, 8, 9 lap older tires.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, we got a real interesting situation because 3 drivers have stayed out on the tires they got on the green flag cycle, and the rest have come down. Now, interestingly enough, Tom, Cody Gibson stays out, having pit on 160. Rick Thompson comes in for the tires. So those were the 2 we were kind of eyeing. Greg Mitchell stayed out for quite a while. Same with Matt Semple before they came down. Those drivers... Greg Mitchell pit on that 163. He's got 3 lap newer tires than Cody Gibson. Matt Semple 161. He's got a lap newer tires than Cody Gibson. Not to mention P4 on back, brand new tires, 10 laps newer.
Well, that puts some spice into things. Out here is all the drivers who were expecting to take a wave around now had a wrench thrown into their plans. Anybody who lines up behind the number 1 truck. Out here tonight, Cody Gibson is going to be the race leader. Greg Mitchell, driver who has had a very up and down night, started 4th on the board, currently runs in 2nd place. And the first driver with 9 lap better tires is going to be Tanner Marr, Brad Holmes, Andrew Caldwell, and Rick Thompson. All those drivers got about 9 lap better tires.
I tell you what, Tom. It's crazy how much a week can change. Tanner Marr was pulling a stay out late strategy in Las Vegas, and it bit him. Got tires when he didn't mean to, and lost out on a pretty good run. This week, it's worked out perfectly. Tanner Marr, first driver on brand new tires, going to have a great opportunity in front of him as the pace car gets ready to pull off. Down it goes. Cody Gibson in control of this race. Greg Mitchell on the outside. 3 lap newer tires for the 55. On the loud pedal we go. It's a good restart for the inside line. All 3 trucks get going. Cody Gibson's got the lead for now down into turn number 1. Off of turn 2 we go. Tanner Marr boxed in by those drivers. Tanner Marr the first one on the brand new tires, but not if Caldwell can say anything about it. Andrew Caldwell, even on tires, going to try and take advantage of that, get ahead of Tanner Marr. We'll see if he can make that work. Tanner Marr still boxed in, still on the outside line. Caldwell up into the wall just a little bit. As we watch this battle for P2, Cody Gibson's loving this one.
We see trucks moving around left and right and center. Riding on board with the back of the number 55 truck. While all this is happening, Cody Gibson looks in his rearview mirror and loves to see everything happening in his rearview mirror, because Cody Gibson has opened up about a 0.6 of a second lead over Greg Mitchell, Matt Semple, Tanner Marr, Brad Holmes, and Andrew Caldwell. That's the battle that we're currently looking at here. Down into turn number 1, Greg Mitchell is clear. The first car on tires so far is Brad Holmes in that 0-0. You see him poking out just behind the 16 as he's going to get sideways on the exit of turn number 2 and hold on to the exit, hold on to the car on the exit of 2.
That he is, and that's going to slow down the progress of Tanner Marr, and Andrew Caldwell, first drivers on those brand new tires. That's going to hold them up just a little bit. And now we're in a position, Tom, where we're starting to see this play out. Greg Mitchell, 3 lap newer tires than our race leader, chasing him down. Less than half a second to go. No one challenging him from behind. Can Greg Mitchell go up there, and can we see the points leader take over the race lead for the first time this evening?
Well, let's go on board here with Greg Mitchell and just kind of eye test this as we've seen you stayed out here tonight as the race sees 25 laps to go. Greg Mitchell visually closed in a little bit that time by. Let's take a look at the lap time history. We're going to leave this up for a few laps. and see the difference between Cody Gibson and Greg Mitchell. Last lap time by, advantage to the number 1, but not by much.
Eye test wise, Tom, I love what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a 55 truck that is much more planted to the ground. That one is just a little slippery, a little slidey, and that's the difference in, you know, just 3 laps on the tires. Not to mention, Cody Gibson knows he's at a tire advantage. Cody Gibson's going to be driving a little on edge because of that, and you can see him getting a little sideways, the rear end of that truck kicking out. Greg Mitchell, excuse me, has a very steady foot. Greg Mitchell is going to be easy on the gas, and he knows how to do this. Greg Mitchell has been in this position many times before. He's going to wait, bide his time, and strike when the moment's right.
Now, how much of the time difference here as we wait for it to come up? All right, that time by advantage to Cody Gibson. How much of the difference is Greg Mitchell actually making up versus Cody Gibson perhaps making mistakes as these laps begin to wind down with just 22, making 21 laps to go here in a moment? It's never good when you look up in your mirror and you see that red and white 55 truck coming.
No, it's not good, and I can speak to that firsthand on many occasions. But I think it's a lap-to-lap scenario on, you know, whether it's the tire difference or whether it's the one slipping up. And, you know, we've seen a couple mistakes out of Cody Gibson, usually strategy related and whatnot. But I think as he's found his speed, as he's found his footing in recent times in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, he's also learned how to avoid some of these mistakes. So this will be a good test for driver number 1.
Don't look now here, Arie. Andrew Caldwell, fastest car on the track by a mile last time by, came down on lap number 170, is the first car to come through with fresh tires. Andrew Caldwell is on like a 100 race winless streak. Could tonight be the night for the number 46?
The cautions and the strategies may have played out perfectly for Mr. Caldwell. He is the first driver on brand new tires. Rick Thompson, though, also on brand new tires. Both of those drivers pit on that most recent caution, and if there's one thing we've seen this evening, it's that on the same tires, Rick Thompson has shown to be quicker than Andrew Caldwell. Andrew Caldwell's got the track position. We're under 20 laps to go. He knows he's got a better position than the leaders ahead of him. So now is the time. Now is going to be a big test for Andrew Caldwell in the 46.
And you can see the time difference between race leader. So Cody Gibson has kind of maybe held steady over Greg Mitchell. Andrew Caldwell has been almost 2/10 faster a lap, but Andrew doesn't have many opportunities to get around the 55. He's playing both offense and defense simultaneously, and that could be the downfall for the 46, if anything.
It could very well be, and I think the same could be said for the 55. Greg is not going to have much of a chance to attack Cody Gibson because he is about to have a rear view mirror full of both the 46 and the 76. Down into turn 3 we go. Second, third, and fourth place, nose to tail, bumper to bumper. Cody Gibson's trying to run away from this, but there's only so much he can do.
Rick Thompson now takes a look down to the inside of the 46. If I'm Andrew Caldwell, I need to get away from the 76. Both of you guys are on the same exact lap tires, so now it's a matter of who is going to be the first one to chase down the 55 and try to get to the 1.
I tell you what, Rick Thompson is not messing around. He's going to take that position, clear himself into turn 3, and Caldwell's going to have to watch the rear bumper of that 76 go and have a go at the race leaders. Now, them battling right there is going to lose them a little bit of time, and now they're going to have to regroup and start to make up that time once again. We see Rick Thompson closing in on the back of Greg Mitchell in the 55. We've got 16 laps to go. Each of these laps are about 30 to 31 seconds, just about 31 seconds at this point. So there's time. These guys got time. They can breathe. They can take this one corner at a time. He knows he's got the tire advantage, Rick Thompson that is, and the race leader's right there. Cody Gibson has not pulled out to the 2, 3, 4 second lead that he's had much of the evening.
And once again, Rick Thompson, one of the fastest cars out on track. Last time by Andrew Caldwell, maybe just a little bit faster. But we're going to see what Andrew Caldwell does once the 76 and the 55 start battling. How do you play nice with 15 laps to go? You don't. You
don't.
But you also need to get by somebody else. Otherwise, Cody Gibson's just going to run away with it.
That's absolutely right. If I'm Rick Thompson and I get to the inside of the 55, I'm not going to be afraid to use the right side of my truck to get my elbows out and maybe lean on him just a little bit. I'm not saying send him into the corner.
Run there.
That it is. He's going to be able to maybe get a little side draft, just get a little air on the spoiler of the 55. Now he's getting to the inside. This is where I would maybe use that left door of the 55. I might make a little contact just to use him to get through the corner a little better. It's go time, and I've got better tires. I've got a better shot at chasing down that race leader. I know you want to battle for second place, but I got places to be, is what I'm thinking in Rick Thompson's shoes right now.
And Rick Thompson has one corner to make that pass, and Rick Thompson clears with better tires over the 55. Now Andrew Caldwell sets his sights on the 55 of Mitchell, as Cody Gibson has now opened up to about a 7/10 of a second race lead over second place Rick Thompson. Now the battle is, can Rick Thompson drive away from the 55 and maybe catch the 1 before the 46 gets around the 55 and put some pressure on the 76, because that will happen with 12 laps remaining.
And I tell you what, Tom, just behind these guys, we've got quite the battle going on. Tanner Marr, Matt Semple, Brad Holmes, all trying to figure it out, all taking different lines around the track. We've just been kind of keeping an eye on this in the backdrop of the battle further ahead. We have got quite the race in the top 7.
Top 3 change. Greg Mitchell has fallen back to 4th. Andrew Caldwell has made his way around, so now it's a battle of tires. I think Andrew Caldwell here, Arie, is probably in the best position. The way that I see this playing out is that Rick Thompson will catch the race leader of Cody Gibson and perhaps get tied up racing him for a lap or two, and that will allow the 46 to close the gap and perhaps come into play as the race lead.
I tell you what, Tom, let's not entirely forget about Tanner Marr yet. I've noticed that Tanner Marr has been using that Dwayne Young apron line, and now he's starting to make some headway. Is Tanner Marr. He's getting up here. He's about to battle Greg Mitchell, maybe even take the position away shortly, so he might be a little too far back for the win, but Tanner's having a good showing, and I hear what you're saying about Caldwell. I think Caldwell is in a fantastic spot for these two race leaders to start battling, and all Caldwell has to do here is mind his tires, mind his fenders, and slowly follow the 76 up to the 1. Be in position to capitalize once these two start slowing each other down. As we come out of turn 2 here, we're looking from on board the number 1 of Cody Gibson, the Flamin' Hot Cheetos truck, back at the 76 of Rick Thompson, closing in on his rear bumper. Here's the situation. 9 laps to go, coming down to 8. Cody Gibson, our race leader, last pit on lap 160. Rick Thompson, 170. 10 lap fresher tires between these two drivers right here. Now, some of those for the 1 were under caution. However, that's going to make a big difference, especially at a loose and tire-hungry track like New Hampshire. Rick Thompson closing down that gap, now down to a half a second. We can see the timing on page right here. Rick Thompson closing in. Green for Thompson means he's closing in on Gibson. Orange means that Gibson's pulling away, and that's a whole lot of green.
This time by, we're going to see 7 laps remaining as we wait for timings to come across. What does lap 193 show? That time Gibson was faster than both Thompson and Caldwell.
He was, and it's very possible that we get to a point where the tires sort of even out a little bit. Could we be getting to that point? Could Gibson have been saving a little bit in the tank to kind of use right here? And, you know, I didn't see this coming, Tom. Tanner Marr putting the 46 of Andrew Caldwell under pressure for P3.
This time by, we got
6 laps to go.
Laps remaining from the Magic Mile out here tonight from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We promised you a wild card. We said we haven't been here in 3 years since the Cyber Thunder Racing League has last been here. And Cody Gibson is showing up strong out here tonight, trying to make Cyber Thunder Racing League history and go back to victory lane for the 2nd time of this season. But other drivers looking to find victory lane for the first time or for the first time in a long time. Rick Thompson, Tanner Marr, Andrew Caldwell, and Brad Holmes. The top 5 running positions out here. Rick has closed up a little bit. He's now down within 0.4 of a second of the race lead.
That he is, and it's kind of hovered out around the 4 to 5 tenths mark. I think Rick is starting to really struggle with that dirty air. That could be a really big equalizer, considering the tire difference. Tanner Marr going to clear Andrew Caldwell back there for P3 at the moment in the backdrop. But right now, we're watching Rick Thompson attempt to chase down our race leader, Cody Gibson. Rick Thompson has never won in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Driver 76 trying to put it in victory lane for the very first time. Now, Rick and Cody, they've raced around each other. They've raced together for a significant amount of time. These drivers know each other very well, dating to before their time in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. So these two drivers know how to lean on one another, know how the other races, and I think that's going to make this a little more interesting. Not to mention, Tom, just 2 weeks ago in Nashville, Cody Gibson barely edged out Rick Thompson for the victory.
You think Rick's thinking about that right now here, Arie, with going to be 2 laps to go next time by?
I think that's all he's thinking about right now, is that he's tired of chasing down that number 1 and he wants to get up there and make it happen. But I tell you what, Tom, it's not going to be too much longer, and Rick is going to have a bigger problem behind him than he does ahead of him, because Tanner Marr, driving the Dwayne Young line around New Hampshire, has closed up to the back of this battle for the race win. 2 laps to go. I think these guys might start running out of time. Rick Thompson's not able to quite get up there. And at this rate, Tom, if we had another 5 laps, Tanner Marr might be looking like the favorite.
Well, top 3 right now, Gibson, Thompson, Marr. That's how they run, as we're going to see the white flag this time by from the Magic Mile. The Granite State of New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Cody Gibson takes the white flag. 1 mile of racing to go.
Down into turn number 1 we shoot. Cody Gibson holding on to the lead. Tanner Marr now going to try and take P2 from Rick Thompson. This is going to be the battle on the white flag lap.
We say it's the Magic Mile out here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and it has been all magic out here for Cody Gibson tonight, as Cody Gibson comes down here into turn number 3, and on the exit of 4, Cody Gibson going to be taking win number 2 of the season of the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. Cody Gibson gets career win number 3 in the Cyber Thunder Racing League.
And just behind our race winner, Cody Gibson, we'll have to go back and catch a replay, but Tanner Marr going to sneak away with a 2nd place finish just ahead of Rick Thompson in the very last corner right there. Let's see, as a matter of fact, while we wait for our drivers to get ready, let's see if we can't go back and catch that pass right there for P2. Jump on over to Tanner Marr right here. Through turns 3 and 4, coming to the line. Rick just gets loose and just loses the spot to Tanner. Tries to door bang him, but Rick falls down to 3rd. Tanner's going to walk away with 2nd after that one right there. Oh my goodness. Apologies for the weird camera at the moment. There we go. All right, donuts being made on the track from our race winner, Cody Gibson. And what a top 3 we have this evening. What a long race it was. 200 long fought laps. And I do believe that we've got our drivers ready. And 3rd place finisher, driver of the 76, door banging coming to the line, but Rick Thompson coming home with a 3rd place finish in what was one of the more exciting runs to the finish that we've ever seen here in Cyber. Walk me through it.
Yeah, I got here late because I was laying some tile for my daughter, trying to get her kitchen done, and so I missed the driver's meeting, and so I had to start in the back. So the whole first stage, I was just trying to get up into a position where maybe I could get some stage points for the 2nd stage. Got all the way up to 11th, but in one of the restarts, I got some damage, and so after the stage, I had to get that repaired. So started at the back again, worked my way all the way back up to 11th again. And then once we got all that done, it was just really trying to get into a position where, I felt like I felt like I had some speed for Cody, but man, he was just so fast, and I burned up so much just trying to get up to him. I was catching him, and then next thing I know, Tanner was in my mirror before I knew it, and he stole that 2nd place from me right under my nose. But man, it was fun at the end.
Absolutely, and if one thing's for sure, a lot of really strong recent showings out of you, Rick. That speed just keeps coming. Doesn't matter the track, doesn't matter where it is. And as we kind of get ready for that mid-season stretch, how are you feeling going into some of the next weeks? Do you feel like it's about time to cross off that first win?
Yeah, I'm not great at Sonoma, so probably not going to be next week. But yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty fast this season. I'm trying to work my way up the power rankings as well as the regular standings all at the same time, and see if I can't give old Greg and a bunch of these other guys up here a little run for their money. Maybe do a little shock to the system at the end here.
Absolutely. That's what we like to hear. Well, congratulations on a third place run tonight, Rick. I'm going to open up the floor to you to any shout outs, thank yous you want to give.
Well, thanks I missed the driver's meeting, so I don't know who sponsored the race, but thanks to whoever that was. And thanks to you guys for sponsoring, for broadcasting the race. You guys always do a great job. I like to watch back. And thanks to my wife for letting me come down here. Thanks to my teammates for always being helpful. And thanks to the league. Always a great league. Love running here. Very competitive, very clean, and good competition. So always enjoy being out here in Cyber.
All right, well, there it is. Rick Thompson, driver of the 76, coming home in P3 this evening. I do believe that Tom is caught up with our second place finisher.
Well, we got a second place finisher of Tanner Marr out here tonight. Tanner, of all the tracks that I would expect you to run well at, New Hampshire would not be at the top of my list. But you come home tonight with a second place finish, and you were trying to chase down Cody Gibson, made the pass on Rick Thompson there at the end. Good run for that number 4 machine out here tonight. How was your 200 laps?
Me and Cody were just talking right before you pulled me up. I'm wore out, and normally I'm not wore out, but yeah, that was a grueler. A lot of cautions tonight, very, very much unlike the series, right? So got off strategy a little bit, but going back to New Hampshire, I'm a short track guy at heart. This place is a bigger short track, so I kind of circle these when we get them on the schedule, right? Like Bristol, those, so on. But we wasn't very good for the start of the night, and then before I knew it, we were running like top 5 or whatever, and just kind of stuck around there until ultimately I looped it like a moron. But they allowed me to get off strategy, and before I knew it, the way the cautions were falling, we just slowly but surely started making our way forward. And that low line here tonight, I mean, who saw that coming? I saw Dwayne run it, and I was like, oh, hey, wait, he's doing something different. And it worked somehow.
Yeah, we had talked about that, about Dwayne possibly showing his hand maybe a little bit too early. But the question that I've got for you, Tanner, is that we only had 4 tire changes out here tonight. After you spun on lap around lap number 100, did you have to change your strategy knowing that you couldn't necessarily come down for a new set of tires after that being only you had 4 tire changes out here this evening?
So absolutely it did. So typically that would put somebody on defense, right? Because I know they can't take another set. But I kind of used it as a way to get on offense, get off strategy from everybody. And I think like 20 laps later, we had another untimely yellow, right, for a lot of guys. And that allowed me to take tires. And in my head, I was like, well, if they keep getting cautions, maybe we can stretch this field out, make it to the end. If that don't happen, then we'll just have a quick splash and go. Same strategy I tried last week and ultimately bit me for it, right? But luckily, the way the caution fell there late, it kind of fell in our lap more than anything.
Well, you came into tonight's race solidly in the top 10 in points. As we begin to lightly think about the playoffs beginning in another, 12 weeks, 13 weeks or so, what do we see out of that 4 machine? Or we see a possible championship run in 2025 season 2 for that number 4?
We got Cody and Greg out here. I just want to be a playoff contender, right? I don't want to be a pretender. Had to win our way in at Talladega last year, and I mean, at the scariest place to go to think you have to win at is where we did it at. So we got lucked into that last year. But I don't know, man. I just want to keep up the good finishes. I want to see my name climb up those weekly recaps that Arie's doing for us. I know she's got a little bit of flack for putting me on there, so hopefully now we kind of like stamped a reason to have that 4 machine or the numberless car, if it had numbers on it tonight, to be moving up on that weekly recap power rankings.
Well, we will see where you shake out on the weekly recap. I'll PayPal Arie and make sure you're not included on it next week. But Tanner, congratulations on a second place finish. Gonna kick you out of here, but before we do, we're going to open up the floor for that number 4 machine. Anybody you want to thank, say hello to on the side of that USAFirearms.com Chevy Silverado.
Well, first of all, I gotta thank y'all, especially you, Tom. I know you might do a lot of work with the series. I hate to make your head even bigger, but I tell people all the time, this is the best league we run in, and that's saying something because I admin in 3 other leagues, and I'm one of the head admins in 3 other leagues I run in. So I put this league above all. I would miss those races. I'm not gonna miss these races. We're gonna get home and make sure we're here for these races. So shout out to you for that. USA Firearms, Cody on tonight's win. Larry Bell had some tough luck. Mackey, new guy, coming in with a top 10. We like to see that. But yeah, ultimately, shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for stepping out of the car. I know y'all be wanting to be racing with us, but we sure do appreciate being able to go back and watch these races, boys.
Appreciate the kind words, Tanner. We're gonna let you get out of here and go put some numbers on that side of that number 4 book. As that's enough from Tanner, but we got the big winner from tonight, and that is Cody Gibson out here tonight. And I believe Arie has got the winner in that Cheetos truck.
That I do. Race winner, driver of the number 1, Cody Gibson, who went out there and got the pole. And in stage 1, it looked like Cody Gibson was going to be the fastest truck until we saw a really quick 48 who went out there and won stage 1. But Cody, you survived a race of attrition. Tons of drivers around you having issues going up, going down, going sideways. There were, 15, 16 cautions, whatever the number came out to. It was, the longest race, surely the longest race of this whole season. So just walk me through the race, walk me through what you had to do and how you were able to kind of keep the truck underneath you, keep in control of everything and bring it home in P1.
That was a wild one, wasn't it? But I know, like in the first stage, I think I pulled like 2 seconds on second place, and I seen the 48 running that weird line, downshifted and all that. I was like, oh man, that's cheesy. But I knew if they kept doing it, they're eventually going to screw up, and I think he did. I think I seen him get loose and tap the wall and bring out a caution, but I don't know. I mean, I just heard everybody shifting, but I did it in practice, and I know it just wears your tires out. So I knew if I could just keep staying in fourth gear and still get a good run coming off, that I would be able to hold them off. And luckily I did. Luckily we probably didn't have 10 more laps because Tanner was on fresher tires and he was coming.
That he was, and it was a very intense battle coming down to the finish there. It was really awesome to watch the kind of converging, you being on the oldest tires with the track position and newer tires behind you, even newer tires behind them, and seeing how that all played out. But I think all of the battling behind you definitely helped out coming to the line there, and you were able to get it done for win number 2 of the season. That ties our points leader, Greg, for wins on the season. And I tell you what, Cody, you've been the fastest driver out there, I think, consistently by speed so far this season, but we're getting ready to shake it up. We're getting ready to head out to Sonoma next week, and how's that got you feeling?
Well, I think you and Tom know I ain't very good at road courses. I mean, I'd probably top 10 if I stay out of trouble, but I don't know. I just got to try to do some practice. And I mean, I like Sonoma, but I'm not a road course person. So I don't know how I can be so good at ovals and not know how to be good at road courses, but I don't know.
Well, fair enough. If there's one thing I've learned from watching the rear bumper of Greg Mitchell at road courses, it's that he's really big on keeping those rear tires alive and being easy on them. So something to think about, I suppose. It hasn't worked out for me. I've never caught them, but either way, congratulations on the win tonight, Cody. I'm going to open up the floor to you, to anyone you want to give a shout out to, thanks, or any of the like.
Oh, you two up in the boot, and of course, Five Kings. I'm gonna run with them this season and helping each other out, and of course, all the sponsors out there.
All right, love to hear it. There is our race winner. Congratulations once again, Cody. And with that, Tom, we are all wrapped up with a very long event tonight in New Hampshire.
Well, for the first time in 3 calendar years, the Cyber Thunder Racing League makes their way back out to New England and New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As the fans begin to make their way down, Cody Gibson celebrates with the big win out here this evening. Let's take a look, shall we, at your finishing order from tonight's race. Cody Gibson, Tanner Marr, Rick Thompson, that's the top 3 that we just spoke to. Andrew Caldwell, Greg Mitchell come home with a solid top 5. What could have been for the 46 machine. Out here this evening, Brad Holmes, Matt Semple, Eric Anderson comes home with a solid top 10. Chris Mackey and Jason Dinsmore also come home with a top 10 as well.
Just outside of the top 10 is going to be driver number 60. That's Lee Campbell, ahead of Mike Stiverson, who comes home in P12 despite having significant damage on that truck. Everything kind of worked out for him after that. Andy Cork in the 41 brings it home in 13th, ahead of Steven Music in 14th. Logan Spencer, driver of the 19, rounds out the top 15. Amanda Sherman in the War Wagon brings us home in 16th, just ahead of Gary Bowman, who is the first driver, 1 lap down. Dwayne Young, stage 1 winner, brings it home in 18. The race just kind of fell apart as it went on for him. Casey Tomlinson in 19th, driving the 52. In 20th place, Chris Wold, and he was 5 laps down in the 32.
And Nathan Dufton in that number 47 got some stage points out here tonight for the 47 machine, but going to come home with a 21st place finish. 13 laps down. Phil Van Vliet, Leroy Koblenz, driver out of Greybeard Motorsports, followed by the race sponsor right here tonight, Ed Jurgen. Want to give a shout out and a thank you to Mr. Ed Jurgen for picking up tonight's race for the Jurgen's Lawn Care 200. Larry Bell in the 05 comes home in 25th, followed by Dustin Ping, got involved in a late race incident. Carter Lawson, 27th. David Gain, 4th. Chris Lutz, and finally, the field of 30 is rounded out by Jared Anderson.
All right, there's our results. All 30 trucks here in the Jurgen's Lawn Care 200 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're getting ready to shake it up next week, Tom. We're going to a road course for the first time this season. My favorite road course, the Sonoma Raceway up in Northern California.
So, yeah, it's also going to be the first time that the trucks in the Cyber Thunder Racing League have ever raced Sonoma. We've taken the Xfinity cars there. We've taken the next-gen cars there. We've taken the Gen 6 cars there. But never once have we taken the trucks out there. So it's going to be fun to see these trucks battle the elevation changes and the braking zones of Sonoma Raceway and Wine Country out west in California next week. But Arie, we've got some more shows this week. Tomorrow night we're going to be back up here in the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. We will be same place, same time, same track at New Hampshire Motor Speedway tomorrow night for the Friggy Racing League.
That's absolutely right, and maybe we learned a lot out of tonight's race here in the truck, but we'll see how much of that transfers over to the next-gen cars, and hopefully it's a bit of a quicker race. But nonetheless, this one's over. The Magic Mile did provide quite a bit of entertainment, and yeah, no shortage after that one, but I think these drivers are going to be ready to forget about New Hampshire for a while.
Well, we're going to start to make our way out of tonight, but tonight's big winner is Cody Gibson in that number 1 Cheetos machine as we wait for him to get caught up there. But Arie, as always, it's an absolute pleasure. Hey, if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, make sure that you like tonight's broadcast, subscribe, get notified every time we go live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. And, well, I guess we'll see everybody out here tomorrow night from New Hampshire once again.